Good morning and happy Thanksgiving from Durfee High School's Mac Aldridge Field. We're live on Fred TV for the Thanksgiving Day rivalry game. It's been 2 years since we played this game on Thanksgiving. It's great to be back. Chris Santos and Joe Cabral from New Bedford Cable joining me, Evan Massoud, on Fred TV. Gentlemen, hope you've been well. It's only been 6 months since we saw each other.
Seems like, just the other day, Evan, and it's great to get back to the tradition of Thanksgiving football. And this one's been one of the longest ones in the state, obviously. We talk about this every year, what number we're on, but, the Boston Globe came out with 77, 41, and 10 in favor of New Bedford. So if this is the 129th meeting, it's been a long time going on with this rivalry, but it's great. It's a beautiful day out here. Looking forward to this one, even though the two teams have not had the seasons that they really wanted to have.
Yeah, when you talk about Thanksgiving Day football, Evan, of course, it's all about rivalries in the state of Massachusetts at the high school level. New Bedford and Durfee can't really be topped. Chris alluded to the fact well over 100 times they've met on Thanksgiving. Many years they met twice in the same season. And of course, we're coming off of spring football game in New Bedford, and now finally back to Thanksgiving Day. Good crowd here today. Beautiful day for football. Temperature projected to be right around 50 degrees at kickoff. So we're excited, despite the fact that both teams have struggled here in 2021.
Yeah, I know you mentioned, that sometimes these two teams play twice, and I think that's where there's some discrepancy and where we're not really sure when we say, is it meeting or is it the year? There's some confusion around that. I can tell you that former Durfee Athletic Director Tom Burns, for the 100th in '94, made a commemorative cap. So there's a 100th anniversary cap from '94 out there as well. So that's another source. And Tom was here a long time, just like former coach Steve Winarski. Head coach Steve Winarski was here at practice yesterday. I was talking to him on the field, came to talk to the kids, to the players, and kind of pump them up a little bit because he was a part of many of these, as has most of the Durfee staff. Aside from two of the coaching staff, all these guys have played on Thanksgiving for Durfee in the past. So, the rivalry's there and the meaning is there. I had a chance to talk with head coach Taylor Brown of the Hilltoppers last week at practice, and he weighed in on the rivalry and kind of what it means to him because he's been on both sides of it. So let's take a look at that pack now.
As a senior, this is what you're going to remember. You're not going to hardly remember the games leading up to this. This is always going to be a memory that's everlasting because it is on Thanksgiving. It is a special day, and it means something. And it's one of the longest rivalries going. So this is important to them. It's important to the coaches, and we try to relay that message to the kids as best we can and make them realize that this is very important. So this is my favorite time of year, weather-wise included. And I always look forward to the Thanksgiving Day game. And I've been attending the Thanksgiving Day game since I was a little boy. At 6 years old, my father, and, really haven't missed one since. I took a couple of years off, but because I was coaching at other places. But, this is what you look forward to as a coach all year. And, it's just like I said earlier, this is awesome.
So again, Taylor Brown, the head coach of the Hilltoppers, he's played in this game. He now has coached this game many times. He's been on both sides of it, winning and losing. Over the last 10 years or so, it's kind of been pretty split. It's been pretty even between both sides. New Bedford's had some tight wins and some blowouts. Durfee's had some tight wins and some blowouts.
Yeah, it sure has. And, as you say about tradition, Mark DeBritto does the same thing. Me and Joe just did the Gridiron Hall of Fame on Tuesday night to put in 6 new inductees at the Century House. But during that week of practice, some former guys obviously come up and show and talk to the kids, show their face to say, hey, this is what this tradition is all about. So both schools doing it. They make a good rivalry. It's been going like this for a long time. But yes, the last 10 years, it's been kind of equal, Joe, and what we've seen out here. Not really one team dominating the other. You may have a good season now and then, but it's two teams that are kind of similar. You can look at the matchups that they played against this year. I think they had 7 teams both have played against. So you can kind of look at those scores if you wanted to. But it's definitely with their records at 1-9. I don't think one team is dominating the other. And then again, you could see something here this afternoon that could show one team take over. And that's what you build on, obviously, for the next season.
Yeah, rivalries, Chris, of course, key throughout all levels of football, and at high school, no exception. You alluded to the fact that at the Hall of Fame ceremonies, everyone remembers the games against Durfee. They all talk about it. Every year, we've been doing it over 15 years now, and they always talk about the matchup against Durfee, no matter how far back it goes. So again, today a big day for both squads. Just an absolutely beautiful day for football. So we expect clean football today. And New Bedford has had a hard time here in 2021 putting points on the board. Their defense seems to have improved lately, Chris and Evan. So let's watch for that today. Can New Bedford's defense keep Durfee in check? And can the Whalers put some points on the board? They've only been averaging about 7 points a game.
Yeah, that's all it's been. Great skill players, Evan, on your part, with what Thomas can do, obviously, at quarterback. You got a bunch of running backs he can turn to. You got Holly can do end arounds and sweeps and quick screens. So you have some great skill players, and that's going to be, if New Bedford is going to win this game here, they have to slow that offense down. The problem with New Bedford is they've been moving the ball from the 20 to the 20. We saw some drives, but then they always shoot themselves in the foot with a turnover, a penalty, or just can't get in the end zone, and they lose it on down. So that's the way it's been for them. They got to find a way to score today, or they don't have a chance to win.
And that means more explosive plays,
yes.
Chris. We've talked about it a lot. It's marching the football and then bogging down, and that's why you need explosive plays in high school football to put points on the board. Durfee has some players that can produce those. New Bedford's a bit more challenging. Let's see how it turns out, Evan.
Well, Jim Mullins and my former classmate Jay Springer are doing the game for WSAR 1480, and Jim was talking to us before. He says, one-game season, guys, because it really doesn't matter. 1-8 for both teams, but that's out the window. We say that every year because this is the game at this point that matters. Both teams did not make the tournament play, so as soon as that's out the window, the focus is this game. Durfee's coming off of a game in which I think it was one of the best all-around, all phases of the games. Last time out against Needham here, 28-27. A heartbreaking loss, missed field goal at the end, but these kids showed grit, and they came back, and they just looked so different from previous games, and that's what kind of makes me good. You mentioned, Chris, about the similar schedule, and you know the Hilltoppers have done better against the same opponents at New Bedford. So for me, Hilltoppers are on their home field. They've had a better success even with the record the way it is. I really feel good about this from a Hilltoppers perspective, and they won the last one.
Yeah, and you look from New Bedford's point of view, they've had a tough season. They finally won a game, their last game against Canton, but only 7-3.
Right.
And so they're looking to try to build and see a little bit of momentum from the win, see if it can carry over today. So I'm sure Coach Brittle and the staff have them hyped up to say, hey, we won a game. Let's move on to this next one. Take this one. We got a lot to work on during the offseason, and then we come back again and see what happens next year. So it's got to build from there.
And something to keep an eye on, Chris. Every year at Thanksgiving, what do we see? Some trick plays. Things we've not seen previously. So for our viewers, keep your eye on the game here today, looking for plays that you've not seen before.
All right, let's hear from head coach Mark DeBrito from the New Bedford Whalers. He also spoke to me this past week. I went up to their practice in New Bedford, and he weighed in on the rivalry as well, something that he, like Coach Brown, has been on both sides of the equation.
Thanksgiving it's something special, you know, and it's the same feeling as a player, as a coach. I think maybe even as a spectator for a few years where I wasn't coaching, I wasn't around and coaching in college. You still, when you come watch that game or you're around this game in whatever capacity it is, it's just a tradition, man. And you get those butterflies and that feeling, and it's just you know, something that brings community together, and that's what I think of when you think about this tradition. It brings so many memories and so many years of this game happening, that it just brings those vibes, those chills, man, that you know, that you love to have.
And that was head coach Mark DeBrito of the New Bedford Whalers. Just had the coin toss on the field, gentlemen. The Hilltoppers won it and will receive the honorary captain today We just talked about him, former Durfee head coach Steve Winarski, who, as I said, I talked to yesterday at practice while we were testing stuff out for today. So really nice to catch up with Coach. I know he joined us 2 years ago for a short time on the broadcast as well.
High School NJROTC.
NJROTC is coming onto the field with the colors. The bands are both ready to play the national anthem, so we're going to take a break and let you hear the sights and sounds as we honor our nation with the Star Spangled Banner.
The visual designer and hornline instructor is Mr. Ryan Lewis, and the percussion instructor is Nathaniel Dojois. The drumline major is Serenity Bearden. Now let's please stand and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem performed by the Durfee High School and New Bedford High School marching bands.
It's a nice tradition here that you get both bands playing together. They've done that for a number of years to play and honor our nation, and always sounds so great. Another face that I'm seeing on the Durfee sideline is a kid who really made a splash last year and was the player of the game, and that's Jason Hall, who left for prep school this year. He was not with the team for his senior year of high school, but he's on the sidelines along with Coach Winarski, and so it looks like Coach Brown's going with any bit of positive feelings and whatnot on the sideline, positive reinforcement. Jay was such a cheerleader as well when he wasn't playing. He had some injuries last year. During the basketball season, he had a wrist injury before football, and he was unbelievable on the sidelines, like almost as another coach on the court for the Hilltoppers at the time, and had a great football season here, even though it was a short season. So he's on the sideline with the coaches. Coach Winarski's making his way off, but should be a good one today. Again, Evan Massoud with you, Chris Santos and Joe Cabral joining me here in the booth. Thanksgiving Day football. We wish you happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Fred TV and New Bedford Cable Network as we team up for this live coverage today on the 120-something meeting, right? of this incredible
Whatever
rivalry.
you want it to be.
Whatever you want it to be. Feels like 200.
Yeah.
The Whalers will kick off to the Hilltoppers to get us going, and that is Anderson Cruz. Ball is in the air, far side, and the Hilltoppers coming back. That looks like Lewis as he splits the middle, goes to the far side. Lewis with some room, trying to get past the special teams defenders, and he's tackled across the 30-yard line by, it looked like, Dimitri Fontanelle.
Very, very good start for the Durfee Hilltoppers, Joe. You look at an easy catch in the middle, kind of pick and choose his way, then hit the seam, and he took off from there, went down the left side, and a big gain and great field position for the Hilltoppers.
We talk a lot about kick returns during our season, Chris, and going north and south instead of east and west. We saw it there, middle of the field, then turn toward the left sideline. Great return there, Durfee, with outstanding field position to start this one off. That's
been the Hilltoppers' bread and butter. They've really done very well on the returns. The biggest key is no blocks in the back. We've seen that so many times, and I know I've hyped on it a few times, but it's frustrating. You have a return like that as Mick Cornell gets the ball. Cornell to the end zone. Touchdown! Hilltoppers strike first easy. Oh, that was Holly, excuse me. They got Holly in the first time.
Don't see any flags, so it's going to hold true.
Javon Holly on one play. A great return from Lewis. Holly punches it in, and just like that, Hilltoppers on the board, not even 30 seconds into it.
Inverted wishbone, Chris, not something we've seen against New Bedford a lot this season. Full house backfield, you get 2 lead blockers with that. Just a pitch to the right side of the formation. He bangs it off right tackle for a touchdown.
Yeah, and give Ben Halliday, give Rafael Vasquez a lot of credit too on that right side with Josh Yentz, the center, clearing the holes, and the extra point
is good. Inacio kicks it through, and that's going to feel good for him because, again, coming off the missed field goal at the end of regulation last week, and I'm sure it's been in his head, but Inacio has been solid. The Hilltoppers have not had, a solid kicker that can do the extra points. So often they just go for 2 automatically. Inacio's been fantastic for Durfee over the last 2 seasons.
Chris, not a great start for New Bedford at all. They've allowed 26.2 points a game on this season, and then really a 1-play drive after the great kick return. And the Whalers have to stabilize here early on. Your emotions are, sometimes you're overhyped for the start of a game. So you got to get your emotions in control here. Try to stabilize what's happening out there on the field.
Yeah, when you're only averaging 6.7 points a game, Evan, that's not the kind of start you want because you want long, sustained drives. Try to punch one in and keep the offense off the field for Durfee because you really don't get many points on the board. So for them, it's not the start Coach Mark DeBritto and his team wants, that's for sure.
The Hilltoppers, and I venture to say it's the same for really any team as Inacio gets ready to kick it off. When you're playing with a lead, especially in a game like this, that is just a boatload of confidence, and particularly for the defense for Durfee. They tend to play very differently when they're playing with a lead, even if it's just one possession. And again, I think that can be, true for any team, really.
Yeah, it can be, and for Durfee, now it's about saying, okay, we settled down, we got what we wanted to do. Now we can kind of relax ourselves even on defense. Because remember, a lot of these kids play 2 ways. So they know they got their first hit, their first touch, Thanksgiving Day, all pumped up. Now it's time to settle down and play their style of football. And New Bedford's got to do the same.
First time we get to see Dosenberg and the Whalers offense. I talked with Ryan, the QB for the Whalers at practice as well as one of the linesmen as well, Anderson Madrano, so we'll hear from those 2 as well as 2 Hilltoppers, Brian Hayden and the QB for Durfee, Isaiah Thomas at halftime. But running play to get it started, couple yards, and 3-4 yards on offense if you're running the ball each play, that's going to get you first down. So just keep chipping away at the field.
And Joe, a name we haven't really heard of, Jaron Goodine running the ball, number 30.
So obviously New Bedford looking to next season and trying to change it up a bit here with Goodine in the backfield with Dosenberg. Whalers generally stay in a shotgun look with an offset back, either right or left, and we see it again here.
As expected, we'll see a lot of the ground game, although Dosenberg passing here on 2nd down. As his man, a first downer, it appears very close, and that was Jazed Valls catching and running.
They've used Valls a lot downfield here, Chris, but the Whalers do like that
3rd and 1 for the Whalers.
Short bubble screen. They've used it several times during the season. Their Valls enough for a Whaler first down.
And don't forget, Evan, the key to that is you got to have good blocking from your receivers. And Dyer Kite did a nice job of blocking that side to get up and get into the first down. So that was very important on bubble screens. Your other receivers have to do the blocking.
Because Valls was very close. It could have gone either way. I think the ball, as he fell forward, just broke the plane there. So first down, Whalers. It's a keeper for Dosenberg. Hilltoppers can't wrap him up. Cuts through the seam, through the pocket, and that should be enough for another Whalers first down. Linesman on this side and the far side making the call as our head official, Greg Camara, signals in the middle of the pocket that it is indeed a first down.
Very tall quarterback, Evan, runs really upright. Tries to peekaboo every now and then and try to find a seam. He did there, gets a good first down as they cross midfield. This is the type of drives that New Bedford can do, Evan, but they can never capitalize and score.
So red zone troubles is what you're telling me. Yeah, we've seen that, from Durfee as well this season. It's gotten better as it's gone on, almost in offsides. We saw one of the Hilltoppers move, but was it because the Whalers jumped? Let's see.
I think it's going to be on Durfee.
It is. So offsides.
Yeah, neutral zone violation called against Durfee. And regarding that last run, Chris, we've seen Ryan run the football a bit more lately. Again, very upright, not known for his ability to run with the football, but the Whalers are trying to mix it up and using Dawsonberg in the running game a bit more.
I'll tell you, he is tall. When I interviewed him, I mean, I'm 6'1", 6'2", and I was like looking up at him. I felt short. Seriously. Good run there on 1st and 5 after the penalty. A little bit short of the first, maybe 2 or 3 yards on that pickup. Just crossing the 40-yard line, ball marked at the Hilltoppers 39. We'll have 2nd and 1.
Yeah, off the left side with Maldonado, Cruz, Thompson's the center, Lopez on the right, and Vieira on the right up front for the Whalers. I'm not saying they have a size different, Evan, but they are able to move and run the ball. It's just a matter of when it gets a little bit tighter down there, can they solve the problems of finding a way to get in the end zone.
And Goodine is only a freshman. They've changed up the look here now. Pistol offset to the left.
Hand it off. That's a 1st down. And Wales will move the chains again. So finding a little bit of a rhythm. We saw one pass play. We've seen a bunch of running plays. And, you know, for a team that has trouble scoring points, as you said, that's the kind of thing you want. You want to find a rhythm early so that see what's working and what's not.
Yeah,
then go to what's working.
And I think the big key there, Joe, is what New Bedford can do on 1st down. It gives them some comfortability. If I can gain positive yards, 3 or 4, it sets up a little bit easier for me. If I shoot myself in the foot and I'm losing yardage, then different things happen. That's when mistakes happen.
For New Bedford, it's all about staying on schedule, a term you hear quite often. Chris alluded to it. 1st down, big to stay on schedule.
Pass and run. Tackled by the Hilltoppers. That's going to be just short of a 1st down.
Another wide receiver screen, and you saw number 51 coming out right there from his left tackle position, Baron Maldonado, to make the block on the wide receiver so he could get back in. But even there, even 1st down, 9 yards, something New Bedford needs to generate definitely here this afternoon.
2nd and 1. They line back up. Mitchell Thompson under center, or the center, excuse me, ready to snap the ball. He was first to it. Handoff again. Keeper, rather, by Dosenberg. Faked the handoff. I bought it. Should be enough for a 1st down. It is. As the Whalers continue to march down the field. Didn't have bad field position, really. They didn't. Hilltoppers did not go to the air on the kickoff. Kind of a, you know, a squib kick there on the ground. So the Whalers started inside the 30. And now they're down inside the Durfee 30, inside the 25, in fact.
And right here, Joe, has been the spots when we've done our football games where New Bedford has had problems. This is the situation. It always seems to be that way. Good march, 1st down, and then all of a sudden they turn it over in downs. They back themselves up with penalties, or something goes wrong and turn the ball over. So right here, right now, down 7-0. You know, you got to find a way to get some points on the board.
Sometimes the Whalers abandon the running game a bit too early. So far, they've done a good job keeping it on the ground.
Handoff there to number 30 for the Whalers.
Goodine, the ball carrier.
That was Goodine.
That's Jaron Goodine again, Evan, the freshman. We've not seen him at all here this season. So obviously head coach Mark DeBrito looking forward to next year, and he sees the promise of that young running back, using him extensively here. And Chris, even though it's only a couple yards on 1st down, as long as you're not producing negative plays, you stay on schedule. And when you get to a certain point, you're going on 4 downs anyway.
Jaden Frazier and Anderson Cruz have usually been the names that we've called in the backfield, but so far, not in the game.
Once again, no, keeper for Dosenberg. Has some room, far side, rolls out, is tackled. Going to be close to the 1st down. That was 2nd and 10. There was no gain on the first play. And now down close to the line to gain. Looks like he's about 1.5 yards short, so it'll be 3rd and a long 1 or a short 2, however you slice it.
And Chris, absolutely what the Whalers needed, a drive here that's absorbed over 6 minutes after a 1-play touchdown drive by Durfee.
Yeah, and you saw a good read that time, Evan, by Dawsonberg. Saw the tackle crash, took it to the outside, and got a good block from Rainin Goodine, number 10, to spring him to get those 9 yards.
A lot of space on the near side as he was tackled on the far side of the pocket, so we'll see if they spread it out this way. Nope, going right up the chute, and that will be enough for another Whalers first down. They're inside the 15 in the red zone.
I'll tell you, Joe, Rainin had a look on the right side there that I thought if he would have saw that hole, he could have cut back and really took off to the races. I think, he'll learn that as he progresses in this system. But there was a hole there on the right side, and he ended up staying with the left. It did get the first down, and so it's almost first and goal. Ball is down at the 11 to 12.
Chris, I think what you have to be impressed by early on here from Jaron Goodine, a freshman, and he's not trying to bounce every play to the outside. He's keeping it inside where the hole is supposed to be and picking up positive yardage.
In between the tackles.
Dosenberg keeps
screen here.
Looking to pass. That is going to bounce. It's incomplete. Not a good pass. It may have even been deflected, but it didn't come out of the hand cleanly, it appeared.
So, Joe, there you talk there. I like it because it's a short pass. I don't like it because you've been running the ball pretty good. So I would say, hey, let's stick with the run at least on first down. Let's see what happens. Then I can come out from that.
That's what we've seen all season long and been concerned with. They get to a certain point, maybe abandon the running game or get a negative play or a penalty on a first down. It sets you up for what are you going to do on second now? It's 2nd and 10. So instead of thinking, okay, we can continue to chip away, they go back to the air on second down, and then you stall your drive.
So 2nd and 10 here. It stops the clock as well at 4:12. This time they'll go back to the run. Goodine goes through the line up the middle for a short gain of about 3 yards. So 3rd and 7, and this is a spot where Durfee's either excelled or they've blown the coverage, I'll be honest. So, I mean, they can really button it down sometimes, and then once in a while, one just sneaks through. So I'm interested to see, more than for passing, if the Hilltoppers can contain the run. This is obviously 2 more plays here. This is 4-down territory all day long.
Oh, yeah, and Brown threw the house on that play, Joe. He sent everybody on defense. They were coming and crashing from everywhere, so at least they got positive yards on 3rd down.
3rd and 7, 3rd and 8.
And they come again.
Passing play is incomplete. Well covered by the Hilltoppers.
Dosenberg's pass intended
And again,
for
that
24,
first down, incomplete.
Yeah.
Boot action is usually one of the easiest passes to complete.
Correct.
Incomplete on a ball intended for Langley. And that produced what you see here now. On 3rd down, 3rd and 7, you throw the ball incomplete. Now you got a 4th and 7. You got to throw it again.
Yeah, and probably going to waste a timeout too, because you're going to think about this one. And Evan, it's Coach DeBrittle's first big decision of the game, whether I want to kick it, whether I'm going to go for it here, what do I want to set up. So him and Harry Lowe, offensive coordinator, they'll sit and talk to one another. They'll talk with John Seed, see what he thinks, the quarterback coach, and come up with something, because they do call a timeout.
Yep, so timeout for the Whalers, and maybe I'm going to go on a limb and say maybe it's the second big decision, because as we said, the running back crew here, Coach sent me probable starters, and Anderson Cruz is the running back listed, but Godine's gotten every carry except for Dosenberg when he's kept it himself.
Yeah, and he's looked pretty good doing it, so I don't think he'll come out unless he gets hurt or things start going backwards for himself. He's been pretty solid, Joe, for a freshman coming into, kind of a rivalry game, a big game, as they always say. But he's looked calm, and he's picked and choose what he needs to do, and he's looked good doing it.
And Chris, remember, when you need a big play, you usually look for players rather than the play. So here I would say you're going to throw the football. You're looking for Rainin Goodine, who's been by far the Whalers' best receiver here in 2021. So we've not seen anything targeted toward Rainin at this point, but let's see if Dosenberg.
Yeah, the other kid I would look for too is Langley, maybe the tight end. We've talked about Jack Langley, if you remember, Joe, a few games, and what he kind of does. Got some height to him as well, number 87. So I would keep an eye out on those 2 players, Evan. But let's see what Brown does, because the last two plays, he's been kind of blitzing.
Long timeout. That was a full timeout taken by the Whalers, as this is a very important spot in the game already early, especially, when the Hilltoppers, late personnel coming in too. Whalers were missing a player.
Shouldn't be when you have a timeout.
No, seriously, that's not good. And
empty backfield.
Dosenberg looking to pass across the middle, and it is incomplete. Oh, he had it in his hands.
but well short of the first down. So you were relying on a
Rosenberg's pass intended for
reception and
number
then
87.
run after the catch.
Broken up.
He
The
wasn't going to
Hilltoppers
gain
will
a
take
first
over
down
on down.
Well, he looked for the guy I thought he would coming across. He was in the slot on the right side as a tight end, dragged across the middle. Maybe nobody would see him, Evan, try to find him. But as Joe alluded to, there was no way he was going to get a touchdown or get 7 yards because the ball was only thrown maybe 2 or 3 yards.
So the Hilltoppers strike first offensively and defensively, come up with the fourth down stop against the Whalers. Another red zone trip.
This is what we've
wasted.
seen all season long from New Bedford.
So the Hilltoppers offense back out on the field. They'll have a long field to work with, about 90 yards as they're down at their own 10. Thomas hands it off to Cornell. Flag is thrown back at the line of scrimmage. Cornell's going down the field. It's going to get cheers from the crowd, but this one is most likely coming all the way back.
Usually when you see that from the
Cornell, the
referee
ball
from
carrier.
middle of the formation, it's a hold.
Tackled by
So
number 4.
anticipate that
There
they'll
was a
come
flag
back.
on the play.
Holding
Yep.
is the call against Durfee.
Greg Camara making that call, the head official. It's going to be holding on Durfee, and it will bring it all back.
Holding
And
on
Joe,
the Hilltoppers.
almost the same kind of play. Instead of shotgun and full house backfield, they just off tackle right in a regular I formation under center, and it was there.
And it was untouched. So
Yeah.
aside from the hold, there was no one there for New Bedford to stop that play. So Whalers have to get their defense settled down here and really start concentrating on the running game that they're seeing here early on from Durfee.
You know, watching the coaches for the Hilltoppers, they were making the flag signal down the field. I think they thought there was something down the field as well. Not that I
It
can
was
really
after
see.
when he got
but
when he got tackled and put down, Evan. There was kind of a late hit when he was trying to get up. So they didn't call that, but it backs them all the way up to the 5-yard line now.
So if I'm the Whalers, I'd say this is a good time to bring some pressure. Durfee's lined up. The Whalers are not even lined up for the play.
They were on the
Wow,
sideline.
really looking sloppy right now.
Meeting with their coaching staff. And Chris, I've never seen that,
No.
ever.
You know what?
I've
Usually,
never seen that.
usually the officials say, "Hey, we kind of wait for you."
But
They
there
did not wait. They put the ball down and said, "Go ahead, offense."
Yeah, there was no timeout on the field. So New Bedford was meeting as if there was a timeout. There wasn't a timeout on the field. As soon as Durfee was ready, you can snap the ball, Durfee.
Hilltoppers with a loss of yardage that time as Thomas is taken down in the backfield on the QB keeper. It'll bring up 3rd and about 5. But, hey, good heads up by the Hilltoppers to know that the ball was set and they could take it whenever they wanted.
Absolutely, Evan. That is the case. There again, the no timeout on the field. New Bedford was conferring, their defense conferring with the coaching staff, and there's no obligation for the official to say we're going to wait for them to come out here.
I mean, and think about it too. It's 1st and 15. You're walking back, you talk, you get in the huddle, and let's go. For New Bedford, they had everyone off to the sidelines, and they were sprinting to try to get there. That's that's
They're
just not
fortunate
good football.
they held it to the limited distance that they did.
3rd and
pass.
5, and that is going to be caught by Lewis. Lewis gets by, and that is a 1st down and plenty more. Lewis down the sidelines and taken out of bounds just across midfield right in front of our camera. Big conversion there for the Hilltoppers. I was just going to say, if New Bedford gets the stop, how big is that penalty, especially after the discombobulation? But the Hilltoppers and Jaden Lewis, Thomas's first pass of the game, and it's a big one.
Well, I mean, just out in the flat, Joe, nothing special. You got to make the one-on-one tackle, and Lewis, elusive, got away from the defender, which was number 23, Anthony Diakite. And once he got there, he went down the sidelines for a big gain over midfield, looking to score again.
And the key to defense is always funneling the plays back toward the middle of the field. New Bedford hasn't been able to do that early on.
Handed off to Cornell for maybe a gain of 1.
Cornell, the ball carrier.
Be 2nd and 9 as we come up on 90 seconds in the first. That drive from New Bedford really did eat up a lot of time. Not as long as one of Durfee's drives this year. We talked pregame. The Hilltoppers back in week 2 against Taunton came up empty on a drive that spanned multiple quarters. An over 12-minute drive that, unfortunately, back then in week 2, Durfee came up empty. But I can't remember ever seeing a team take the opening kick and run out the first quarter. Thomas keeper rolling out far side is tackled at the 45.
Thomas on the keeper.
by Desmond Brunskill.
Yeah, so Brunskill makes a play. Interesting, too, that time, and I believe there was a flag down on the play, but Brown went over this to do a little bit of the read option, but nobody came through, and then he just held on to it with the outside. But we have another hold against the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, that was the same full house backfield that they scored the touchdown on. It's a read option. Ravens use that formation, inverted wishbone all the time in the NFL, and you can see there it's supposed to be a read option, as you mentioned, Chris, but no one,
no one wanted the read.
Halfback went to the wrong side, and as a result, Thomas had to keep the football.
That's a tough one because that's a spot foul, and it happened behind the line of scrimmage, so it's going to be 2nd and 22. Happened 2 yards behind the line.
Maybe expect Brown, maybe a little screen here, Evan. Get some of them playmakers the ball, use their speed. Here it is.
Back to Lewis. Maybe a hold on this side as well, but the Hilltoppers not doing much on that play.
A little too slow developing that time, getting it outside to Lewis. You want to get it out there quickly before the defense has a chance to flow in that direction. And again, a bit slow developing pass, a little bit low. Lewis didn't have a chance to bounce it to the outside.
I think my headset was connected to Taylor Brown's headset on that one, Evan, because I was reading that play, and I knew that screen was coming. So maybe I got a little bit of that connection up there from the Hilltopper coaching staff.
There you go. Well, we're at the end of the first quarter already, 12 minutes in the books. The Hilltoppers out to the 7-0 lead. They scored within the first 30 seconds of this one. A big return from Lewis, and Holly took it in on one play. And then on defense, the Hilltoppers making a stop as, you know, the Whalers offense looked pretty good until they got down into the red zone, which you both have said has been kind of their demise this season.
Out of town scoreboard, Joe. I got Dartmouth beaten for Haven 7-3 end of the first, and I'm hearing Will Kelly is out of the game with a hyperextension of the knee, I believe. So that's a big loss.
Yeah, big
obviously
loss.
for Dartmouth fans, because he's their catalyst, that's for sure.
Senior quarterback, and you know, really kind of the straw that stirs the drink there at Dartmouth, but still early on. Fairhaven hanging in there, and not always been the case when those two teams have met on Thanksgiving.
Got a text out to Jim Pereira, the athletic director at Diamond as well, so waiting to see what he says, if there's any score out there, because they're actually playing at home as well. For the longest time, when New Bedford High was here, New Bedford Volk hosted, so Diamond would travel. So both cities had a game, but this year Diamond hosting as well, so 2 Thanksgiving Day games going on within a mile and a half of each other.
And my update came in. Fairhaven just scored and took the lead on Dartmouth 10-7. So the Indians in a fight.
Thomas.
Screen.
Pass is good to Holly.
New Bedford was all over that one.
Oh yeah, Holly's going down, and it's that penalty killed the Hilltoppers on this drive after the big play to Lewis, and it's going to be 4th down and about 22-23. So Durfee will have to punt, and that's going to be Lewis as well. Lewis is the punter for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, New Bedford snuffed that one out.
Thomas listed. Lewis has done the punting in the past. Thomas listed on our probable.
Let's see who it is.
Looks like Thomas is going to be back there, number 4.
I always like when a quarterback's punting. You know, it doesn't mean he's actually going to punt the ball. But
true.
This is a long way to go, so I would think he would really punt this one.
Low snap. Good tumbling punt, and it's going to get a little bit of a bounce.
Yeah.
And that'll pin the Whalers back inside the 20. That's a good punt. That'll get the job done.
Yeah, nothing that you really see in the NFL, but enough in high school football. That low line drive, get that forward roll. That's what he got. And once again, New Bedford will have to go, Joe, 20-20 again, and hopefully get a good sustained drive, and hopefully this time try to get in the end zone where they've really struggled.
And the real success for the Whalers on that last drive was the running game. So New Bedford has to focus on keeping the ball on the ground here. And then when they get in a key first down and stay with the running game, it really, that drive was diffused by the first down incomplete that set up 2 more passes in that series of 4 downs.
Set the man in motion. Dosenberg shuffle pass as he gets leveled on the backside, looking for a flag as Cornell put him down to the turf. Positive yards for the Whalers, though, on the run. That handoff there that almost didn't happen for about 7 yards.
Yeah, and you know, your momentum carries you through, and it carried Dawsonberg to the ground, and he wasn't too happy. He looked right at the Fisher and said, "Hey, pal, how about helping me out here? I'm the quarterback," but he doesn't get the call.
Only Brady gets those calls.
He's got the wrong number on. He's got number 1 on.
Right. 2nd and 3. Back to the ground game again. Godin forging ahead, going to be very close.
Can't complain, Joe. They've been successful with the run. The line up front is kind of been impressive for New Bedford. They're moving the ball. They're moving the chains. And, you know, if they can get a little bit of that passing game to go with it at certain times when you need it, then okay. So, you know, you got to stay with what's working for you.
And you have to spread the field here a bit. So when you get an opportunity, maybe a 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, that's when you look to hit something big, go for a big play action deep down the field. New Bedford has stayed very close to the line of scrimmage here.
Dawsonberg stuffed short of the line of scrimmage. He's going to be backed up. It's going to be a loss of close to 2 yards for the Whalers. It'll bring up 2nd and about 11 or 12. Tough to see the markings on the field, especially with the sun kind of in our faces here. The field here at Durfee getting close to the end of its usable life, and pretty faded, especially compared, because your field's a few years newer than ours, and it wasn't used as much as ours, because, you know, for football, I know the Whalers used the old stadium and the grass for many years, even after that new stadium was built. Going deep down the field, double coverage. Holly has the pick, and the Hilltoppers defense comes up big. The interception at the 45.
Yeah, and not only that, Dawsonberg took a hit, and he's still down, just getting to his feet now. But, Joe, that had no shot, because they were double teaming. There might even have been a 3rd guy in there, and they were all over it.
We've seen that a couple of times this season, Chris, just throwing the ball up for grabs, really not seeing if the receiver is open. It was double covered at that point. A ball intended for number 22, Guzman, and really no chance for Guzman downfield. It was easily picked off, and Durfee with the football now at their own 44.
Yeah, the Hilltoppers had Holly kind of cut back in, but Lewis is the cornerback, and Thomas was down the field as well. So you talk about playing both sides of the ball. 3 very fast players. Holly gets the pitch through the gut, up the middle, cuts back left. Holly to the end zone. No flags. Touchdown, Hilltoppers. How about that one play again? Making them pay with points off the turnover.
And if you're going to watch the block by number 15, Anasio, on Diakite. Diakite comes up high, gets him, sends him out where he can come underneath, and then he takes off and he goes. Obviously, if you keep him to the inside, then he would take it wide. But he got him up high and he kept him out there, and the block was underneath and he was gone.
But Chris, when you go untouched, that's all about run fits. Your run fits are not right here today. For New Bedford, players are going untouched, and that time again, 56 yards for the score. One play drive.
Well, the kicker gets hit on the back end of that. Ran into the kicker and no flag. Not too contested.
Low snap. Ball was picked up off the turf, and that eliminates the roughing the kicker penalty, and the kick was short and not successful in converting the extra.
Yeah, what's very disheartening, guys, is, okay, the first level you get by, but you're also blocking the second level and obviously the third level with the DBs and safeties, and he's not getting touched. When that happens in football, you know your defense is not having a good day. And right there, I can see the front part, but now you got linebackers coming up, you got safeties and D-backs coming up, and no one's even stepping in to even touch the running back. So right now, New Bedford really is reeling on defense, and they have to find a way to make some adjustments, definitely at the half. or this one's going to be a blowout.
Well, Chris, you know how run fits work. You have a 4-man front, 3-man front, whatever your front is, those 7 or 8 players up front, they all have responsibility for a gap.
Correct.
If you're not controlling your gap, and that's when you see plays like that are busted plays, untouched, someone is hitting a gap with no one there, and they're going the length of the field. Second time we've seen a 1-play scoring drive for Durfee.
Now, the big plays are something that have helped the Hilltoppers out this season and last season, the abbreviated one in the spring. And it's helping them here. And again, I credit them that, they've had a few penalties, holding penalties and whatnot, but these big plays they haven't gotten really hit, except for the one on Cornell last drive, but they've been pretty lucky. We've seen, again, I bring it up, the blocks in the back have really plagued them on some of those big plays, particularly on returns. So Hilltoppers have gotten it done with 2 big plays. 8:40 to play in this half. 13-0 Hilltoppers.
New Bedford really needs a sustained drive here, Chris. Absorb time off the clock and then get some points.
Yep.
Yeah, the last thing you want if you're the Whalers is to give Durfee the ball back really with any time to do anything. Is that a live ball? I think that's a live ball.
Now, the key was, did he throw it forward in a forward motion, or was it a lateral, obviously throwing it behind? And that's what we have to find out. And one official on this close side, Evan, was all over the ball, so you would have to think that it's going to be a turnover.
Yeah, the line judge on the near side here, Chris, as you said, saying it was a lateral.
They didn't whistle a dead, Joe.
Well, they're going to call over the other official to see what he saw as a line judge.
Remember,
to
you have
figure
2
out
line
what it's going to be.
judges, one on each side of the field. There is a headline judge.
Forward pass.
Incomplete.
Yep.
And Coach Brown is livid on the sidelines as he was lined up at the line of scrimmage. He's not, actually, excuse me, that's Coach Powers. Coach Powers, former Hilltopper as well. He, a classmate of mine, graduated in '07. He's not happy with it.
Well, the defense has to get back. Joe, you're down 13-0. You throw a little screen on first down to try to, get something going. You get nothing out of it. Obviously, you drop the ball, so now it's back to 2nd and long. And when you want to score, it doesn't mean you have to get, right away. You got to try to move the ball down the field.
2nd and 10. The Whalers catch a break there on the incomplete. Oh, picked off. Lewis sticks the hands out. And another interception. The Durfee defense gets it back. And New Bedford got the reprieve there as they almost lost it on a fumble. And now the 2nd pick. Lewis this time sticking the hands out. That looked like Malcolm Butler right there in the Super Bowl, sticking the hands out right in front of the receiver.
And you can see here the Whalers' problems, a microcosm of those throughout the season being reflected here on Thanksgiving Day. First drive, give up a quick score, 1-play drive. Your defense, your offense then marches the ball, Chris. You end up not scoring, not producing any points, and now you're going to the air a bit more than you would like.
Yeah, and just a little curl route by Diakite and just taking off. But here, once again, just another big run play for Durfee on first down. I'm surprised that one didn't go in the end zone too, because he had a chance, got caught from behind at the end to keep him out.
Well, like I said, pregame, Mick Cornell, number 3, has really done a great job, when he's been asked to carry the ball. Didn't get too many snaps last year, and he's really kind of been the new Jason Hall in a sense, because Hall had the size, and then you had Holly and Lewis, who weren't as big, but they're wicked fast. So Cornell's kind of been that platoon guy where you get the power back and then you get the real speed guy. So Cornell's not the fastest, but he's a big presence there in the middle on running plays. We do have a score update. 5 minutes left in the 2nd quarter at Diamond. The Bengals not having a good day. The Bears up 28-7 over Diamond just down the street. That coming in from Athletic Director Jim Pereira. So tough day for the Bengals, but the Hilltoppers enjoying it so far as the clock is rolling here in the 2nd, and they are in the red zone once again.
Brought up the Voc-Tech score. Evan, Chris, and I have been following the Bears as they're in the state vocational tournament. They've made the finals, so they're at the top of their game right now.
Thomas with a great run just short of the goal line, but a flag comes in late in the backfield, so that's
holding again.
Another hold against the Hilltoppers. Greg Camara giving Durfee the bad news. So another spot foul of 10 yards. It was 2nd and 8 and a first down, but instead coming back 10 yards from the line of scrimmage.
And up in Dartmouth, Kelly is out. Chase Fenno, the son of Quinn Fenno, former New Bedford High, is in the game at quarterback. But for Haven has scored again, and now it's 17-7. The Blue Devils. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
certainly would be an upset.
Big time upset.
Yeah, the Indians, I've seen 2 games this year out there. As people here in the city know, I do a couple games for DCTV. Most of the time, the Durfee ones. Now that we're in the same conference, Pete will call me and say, hey, want to do the Durfee games? Sure, why not? So I did the wide open, and Lewis couldn't reel it in. Incomplete. I did the Durfee game, and then I did the game 2 weeks ago with Paul Santos against Plymouth, and that one was a Thursday night. They had moved it because they were worried about the weather on the Friday. Yeah. And so since I was here Friday, but Thursday was free, I ended up doing that one with Paul, and Indians looked good in that one too. It was they've really had a good season. 3rd and long, about 3rd and 19.
And you can see here again, Evan, even for Durfee, how penalties can stop a drive and kill your momentum.
Ooh, low snap. Thomas picks it up. Pressure coming. Got to take the shot down the field. Oh, is that reeled in? It sure looked like it. Caught just short of the goal line. And it'll be 1st and goal for Durfee. Holly with an incredible catch, stretching and getting the feet down.
Now, there's 2 things you watch here, Evan. One, the strong arm on the throw by Thomas, going the opposite way from his body.
Right.
And then 2, you only need 1 foot in high school. Hey, he had 2,
right,
like the NFL. Plus
Personal
roughing the
foul,
passer.
Roughing the passer on top of the completion. That'll be half the distance.
Would have been
to
first
the
down
goal.
anyways.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So they're going to be basically at the half-yard line here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Holly takes it in. We've also seen direct snap to fullback as well this season. A couple times we saw it in the last game, Anasio. So that would be an interesting trick play possibly down the road. But Thomas hands it off to Cornell. Cornell dives forward, waiting for the signal, and it looks like he is not there.
Tackled by number 51, Maldonado.
Maldonado with the tackle, short of the touchdown. You know, for Durfee, they probably don't mind this because it's just going to take another 30, 40 seconds off the clock. They line back up. Same personnel. Anasio, the fullback. Cornell, the running back. Back to Cornell. Cornell punches it in. That should be good.
The
ball came out. Was he down? I don't think so.
No. Wow.
Cornell, the ball carrier.
Oh, the Hilltoppers with a turnover of their own. Got a gift down 1st and goal at the 1.
Let's see if we see it here, who made the tackle in the play. Trying to rip it out. Not sure when it came out, but number 57 was in there to make the tackle for New Bedford, Jose Bonilla.
Wow.
And I don't know if it was him coming from behind and reaching, or someone came up and popped it from the side. But Evan, talk about a killer, because you can put this one away right before halftime.
Absolutely.
And say, hey, I'm going to be up 3 scores. Instead, it gives, you know, New Bedford a little life, but then again, you're backed up in your own zone.
Now, Joe, if you're Taylor Brown, you've come with pressure a few times. You've gotten to Dosenberg. Do you bring the house here and try to get him in the end zone?
You certainly are not afraid of the Whalers' deep passing game. So you're going to blitz, be at the line of scrimmage, look for a safety. He got beyond the line of scrimmage. So
see, Joe, and I don't like that. I like Dosenberg on the center. I like to have it there because now you get closer and you can move a little bit easier out of your own end zone instead of all being so far back.
And a quarterback sneak in high school is actually a play that produces yardage, especially when the fronts are not aligned properly. So you're under center, you see no one over the center, you quarterback sneak, get 2 or 3 yards. When you're taking that snap in a shotgun, the defense, very easy to converge from the outside. New Bedford has not showed anything like that really this season. They've stayed in the shotgun virtually exclusively.
So 2nd down, and it looks like 11. It looks like they may have lost a yard on that. Dosenberg looking to go to the air. Firing it, kind of a wobbly ball. Does he have his man? No, he overshot him.
Had a man open that time, Evan. He
did.
Behind the coverage. I think that's Goodine. Let's see.
No, Fontenelle.
Fontenelle, far side of the field. Looks shaken up a bit, Chris. Maybe
Yeah,
just
might have rolled an
because-
ankle there.
Yeah, because he tried to just look over the other shoulder and get there. He was open. He was past the secondary. Ball was thrown too close to the sideline.
Now, I like the idea from Dosenberg because, you know, you get yourself out of that hole because they really have dug themselves one. It's great to get the turnover, but they're in a real tough spot of the field. So now 3rd down, and after the incompletion, pressure's on. This is not 4-down territory at all, so you got to get it done here.
And it stops the clock, and that helps
Right.
Durfee with 5:02 remaining here in the half.
Handed off and stopped right at the line again. The Hilltoppers defensive line building a wall, and it'll bring up 4th down, and here comes the punting unit.
Good on the ball carrier, tackled by number 15, Anasio.
Yeah, I think if you throw it there on 2nd down, Chris, you go back to something similar on 3rd down. Even just simply look downfield. Deep ball, sideline fade, something like that where even if it's picked off, it serves the same purpose as a punt. Here, just running it on 3rd down, you set yourself up to punt the ball away, and you really need a big-time punt here to get out of the shadow of your own goalpost.
4:15 and counting, clock running, 4th and 11. Cruz ready to punt it away. Lewis at around the 40-yard line. It's blocked. Kick is blocked in the end zone, and it's going to roll out of bounds. That's a safety.
And a flag's down. Make sure we got it.
Punt is blocked by number 5.
So flag here. This will be interesting.
Devon Moole with the block.
Legal touching is called.
Yep, that's a safety. 2 points for the Hilltoppers, and they'll get the ball. So it's 15-0. So the defense comes up big. After they cough it up, they still end up with points. Really, everything going right. We just heard the other broadcast as well in the booth. It's true. Everything going right for Durfee right now on their home field.
Well, actually, the 2 points, it's not as bad as you would think because
Sure.
you get out of, again, the shadow of your own goalpost to punt the football away. And
2 is better than 7 or
right,
6.
and in high school football, you still have a 2-score game. 15-0, Evans, so a couple of scores and 1 2-point conversion, and you've tied the game. So not that bad. Actually works out for New Bedford a little bit. 2 points more valuable at the higher levels, the NFL especially, because you kick field goals and the scoreboard changes a bit differently than it does in high school football. Whalers have to punt it away here, of course, after a safety, and they'll do so from their 20-yard line. So you have a choice. You can kick it or you can punt it away.
Yeah, and I think the only negative really about the safety, sure, it's a benefit for New Bedford. They only give up 2. The bad thing is that they don't have the ball. So now Durfee has 4:02 to work with, knowing that the Whalers are getting the kick at the second half. So instead of the Whalers trying to finish the half with points and then come back, now Durfee's going to have another chance with the football.
And remember, too, you have to kick from the 20,
Right.
not your normal way you're kicking from, Joe. So expect great field position as the guys are already back for Durfee up at the 35-yard line. So let's see where they're going to start this one from.
Line drive, and it is
midfield.
caught. Wow, midfield is right. That looked like number 8, Kelvin Strong. Yeah, it was. Kelvin Strong with the return, catching it just inside the 50 and diving across the 40. So the Hilltoppers was very good field position.
A nice job by Strong there, not to let the ball hit the turf and roll. So just caught it off his shoe tops, returned it inside the 40. So football at the 39-yard line for Durfee to start this drive.
Well, here's an opportunity now, Evan, for the Hilltoppers to make a statement. This is the time now, if you score here, and now it could be obviously 22 or 23, nothing at the half. That's a great momentum for them to go to the half, and tough for New Bedford.
Lewis finds a seam. See you later. Another one-play drive for the Hilltoppers, and Lewis runs it through the end zone towards the Hilltoppers.
Well, Joe, we can
Crowd.
say we've watched a lot of football, and I've never seen 3 one-plays that score a touchdown. We've seen a lot of football.
And untouched.
And untouched.
Untouched.
I mean,
sometimes
on all
you
3 of
just
them.
have
Yeah, he busts, he
dominant
gets
players,
hit.
he's breaking tackles,
Yeah.
but
Now, this
3
is
one-play drives where the running back is untouched.
Yep.
Unreal.
I
So
mean, he's
Durfee.
not bouncing off of anybody, Evan. He's
No.
not taking it to the second level. He's just hitting a hole, and it's so wide open. He's gone as soon as he touches the ball.
Yeah, so often, you're right, you got to get through defenders. Here, he had
Yeah.
a 3-lane highway. Freeway to the end zone for Jaden Lewis on one play for 39, 38 yards. It's 21-0. And it looks like Durfee is going to go for 2 this time. Why not? At this point, 21-0, nice football score. You got nothing to lose.
Now, New Bedford hasn't been able to stop him on
No.
the run, so I would expect them to run the ball. But he's going to
No,
pass.
he's going to pass. And has his man. He's in. 2 points is good, and it's 23-0 in favor of the Hilltoppers. Fans pretty quiet here, despite despite the score. I'm surprised. Really good crowd here. I have to tell you, we've had tremendous crowds. I don't know how it's been in New Bedford, but and I don't know if it's because last year was just, so strange. There were a lot of, restrictions with fans and stuff, but I have to tell you, every home game that we've had here this season, the crowd's been as full as this today. Maybe not the visiting side, of course, because, with this rivalry, it's different, but the home crowd has been unbelievable this year. They have come out for every game in droves.
People just like to be back outside, Evan,
Yeah.
and able to participate in things.
Now, and
that
one of
they-
the other things, obviously, you have
Yeah,
a
they could not
tremendous day here today.
Oh, sure.
50 degrees, a lot of fans, a lot of support, both sides. People want to come out. When you're talking 20s and teens, all of a sudden people will say, hey, we can watch it on TV. Let's watch it on TV.
And
But it's nice to have everybody out.
Yeah, the tradition of coming out
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving
Yeah.
Day, we've seen for years.
Yes.
Great crowds, best crowds of the year generally, even when the weather is not quite as good as this, and today it's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, just about 50 degrees as the kick comes in. 3:49, the clock starts to roll here in the second quarter. Big return for the Whalers. Pushed out of bounds across the 40, but that is one big spark potentially for New Bedford as they have time to work with.
Now that ball now rolled all the way, got back to one of the speed burners instead of the two before, Evan, where Langley took both of them, not a speed burner, able to corral him. Goodine took off. That's Rainin Goodine. And, good yardage for New Bedford, trying to get something positive, Joe. Maybe with 3:37 before the half, get on the board and make it 23-7.
I hate to say it, Chris, but this is really the game right here. New Bedford will get the ball to start the second half.
Yep.
If they can put points on the
I
board
agree.
here, then you follow that up with possession to start the second half, you're still in the ball game.
Yep.
No, big spot, absolutely. You both, I completely agree. The Whalers got to get something done here. That was passed to Rainin Goodine as he picks up about, I want to say 9 yards on that.
Wide receiver screen, another good block out from Baron Maldonado, coming from his left tackle position, kicking out that DB so he can get back underneath. Good yardage on first down for 8 yards.
And a much more catchable ball that time from the quarterback, Dawsonberg, when Valls missed the one that was up high, went right through his hands. That time right in the breadbasket for Goodine.
2nd down and 2. Under 3 minutes to go. We're just past the 11 o'clock hour, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody. That'll be a first down on the running play. Whalers will move the chains. Evan Massoud, Joe Cabral, and Chris Santos joining you for Thanksgiving Day football. It's nice to be doing this on Thanksgiving
sure
again.
is.
It was, it really was weird doing this in April. The weather was great. I won't complain about that, but it just was very strange.
Yep.
Everything about the last year has been very, very strange. And that is short, and I spoke too soon. I really thought he got through far enough, but only a 1 yard carry. So 3rd down and 1 here. The Whalers did not convert on that last snap.
Blitz is coming.
And they wrap him up. I don't think he got there.
Oh, no, not even close. In fact, he's going to lose a yard.
The knee went down. It looks good when you're stretching, but you got to take into account the knee, of course, after contact. And you're right. He lost a yard. So 4th down.
Full out blitz that time, Joe. Maybe a read option, and Dawsonberg could have kept it, gone right around the corner. So once again, they're going to have to call timeout. They call timeout to say, hey, it's 4th down. We've been here before, but now it's 4th and 3 instead of when they had it last time on 4th down. So, Mark DeBritto and his staff have to figure out if they can make the chains go here. They need some kind of play to get this offense going again. But this is something, as we said, Evan, only averaging 6.7 points a game. So it's just not New Bedford's offense this year.
And again, your formation of being under center, Chris, because when you're in the shotgun, it's very easy at the high school level to bring pressure from the outside of your tackles. So you just blitz those outside linebackers. By the time the quarterback gets the football, they're there. You stuff plays like that, where if you're under center, you can't spread your defense like that quite the same.
Big play here for the Whalers. 4th down and a long 2. Keeper for Dosenberg, and
doesn't have it yet.
Oh, he did get it though.
It's going to be close.
I think he did.
That second effort, Evan, he was stuffed, and then he bounced off of it, ended up going across, and he does lean forward for the first down.
That's a big
that was
conversion.
big.
Huge conversion for the Whalers as they move the chains. But time is not on their side, and they're not calling another timeout yet. So rolling up on 90 seconds.
They're out.
No, they're out of
Evan,
timeouts,
yes, they are,
me.
according to the scoreboard.
Yeah, so remember here, need to move the football with urgency. Get in and out of the huddle.
I would expect to see some passes now because, no, Dosenberg keeping. Right up the middle for a good 4 or 5 yards. But I would think at some point you're going to have to start throwing the ball and try to get guys to the outside. And if it's incomplete, then that stops the clock as well.
Sense of urgency now for New Bedford. Got to get this a little bit quicker.
Absolutely. You have time to run the football, but you have to get in and out of the huddle and get to the line of scrimmage.
Or even if it's straight back drop, Evan, and maybe scramble from the pocket. I mean, we've seen Dosenberg do that as well.
No, but you're right. 20 seconds in between plays. I mean, the Hilltoppers went no huddle on the first or second drive of the game. You got to be ready to go. 25 seconds between snaps here. That's too much time. Looking to pass, rolling out. Dosenberg almost wrapped up. Going to take a shot down into the end zone, and this contact made by the receiver as the Hilltoppers secondary undercut the ball. It's incomplete, stopping the clock at 36 seconds.
Joe, I'm going to give Goodine the credit because that should have been interception. He knew he wasn't going to catch it, so he made sure the defender didn't catch it, and he went over him and knocked that down.
Yeah, if anything, there would have been offensive pass interference there as he went over the back of the defender. Again, ball just thrown up for grabs. If you have a tall receiver on the outside, you can send someone deep and then try to high point the football, but you need to have someone with that type of ability.
But also, that's what happens when you're not efficient in running that offense faster. So now as the clock's ticking down, you got to make desperate big plays. And if you were doing it the other way, you may not have to do that.
If you get right back to the line of scrimmage, you've got a minute and 45, something like that, after the first down. You've got plenty of time to run the football. Now you're really stuck with 36 seconds left. You're left with throwing the football.
And Durfee knows that, and the Hilltoppers using a timeout here because they don't want to allow any points. You know Coach Taylor Brown wants to go into the half with this lead 23-0. He wants to keep this shutout going. Now, you mentioned about New Bedford's struggles scoring points, and it wasn't just a couple years ago. The Hilltoppers were kind of in the same situation where they were only averaging 7 to 10 points a game, and the Whalers came in here plenty of times and blew out Durfee. So, I mean, it's one of those deals where, kind of what comes around goes around in a sense.
But we talked about big plays being the way you score points. So you need explosive plays to score points. Durfee has done that today. When they've had penalties on a couple of drives, they've been stalled. But when they've not, and they've had big plays, they've produced points. New Bedford does not have big play players generally. They need to march the football. They've struggled.
3rd down and 6. Dosenberg calls hike. They hand it off, a bit of a reverse. The Hilltoppers ready. Oh, he bounced off, got free. But there on the back end of it to make the stop. Still a loss of yards. The Hilltoppers defense snuffed that one out.
First carry of the afternoon, Anderson Cruz.
4th down.
No huddle. They're going for it with now 12 seconds on the clock. Taking the pass. Caught. but short of the
Gonna be
line to
short.
game. Yep, the Hilltoppers will take over on downs with 5 seconds to go in the half, and they'll probably just take the knee. I don't think they'd run a play here. You never know, but I'd be surprised.
Hey, Evan, you're only taking 1 plays and you're scoring touchdowns. Why not at least hand the ball off once?
You've got 1 play on this
Why
drive.
not? It's worked out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. Not so fast on that take a knee. Not what I've seen here this
Chris,
afternoon.
you have to be a bit concerned over the play calling. You've run 2 very short passes on 4th and more than medium, 7-8 yards, and even with a completion there's no chance for a first down.
Right. All right, Chris, there you go.
All right. Well, I know they're not taking a knee, I
No,
don't think.
you called it.
He would have been on the center.
Again, there's no reason
Nope.
to give it a shot.
Screen, draw, Hail Mary, whatever you want to do here.
Low snap. Thomas
Straight
will
running
keep
play.
it.
Running himself.
And time has expired
Thomas, the ball
here in
carrier,
the second
runs
quarter.
out of
First
bounds at
half
the Hilltopper
is in the books,
28-yard line.
and it is 23
At the end of the first
to
half,
nothing in favor
your
of
Durfee
the Hilltoppers. Has been a
23.
great first half. Welcome
New
back
Bedford
inside the
Whalers, 0.
broadcast booth. Evan Massoud, Chris Santos, and Joe Cabral. Great that you've joined us. 1 half in the books, guys, and I'd say the points, a little more points than I would have expected for Durfee, but knowing New Bedford's challenges with scoring points this year, I don't think the result is necessarily different through 1 half than I would have expected.
Yeah, and what expected me, Joe, is to see 1-play drives, 3 of them for Durfee, some big long runs, but untouched.
Really?
So when you're untouched and you're running that far, obviously it's a long day for New Bedford. So they need to go to the half, make some adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, because at least the offense has moved a little bit. They've had their chances, just not able to put it in. But the defense really has to find a way to slow this offense down.
Yeah, they get the possession to start the second half. Really need to put points on the board there if they want to have any hope of coming away with a victory on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, I mentioned in the open and earlier in the broadcast that I also had a chance to speak with some of the players who are on the field today at both practices over the last week, and they all had good things to say about what the rivalry means to them. So we're going to run that pack now, and we'll be back in about 60 seconds.
It means a lot, especially this year, not having the season that we wanted. Winning this game would be everything to me, to be honest. Just getting that second win, and especially on Thanksgiving Day, it's just the biggest game of the year. So I really want to win this one.
For Thanksgiving, it's just completely different. It's a whole new season. They were telling us even before Canton. They told us, yeah, right now we just want to go 2-0. That we don't care about the season. Everything's wiped. That's the main target. It's just Canton and then Durfee every year.
It means everything, to be honest. It'll be great to beat the rivalry team, Durfee. It'll be phenomenal after what happened last year, the poor showing we had in that little fall season. It was a bad sportsmanship, and I feel like this year we can have the upper hand against them, and we can show them what's up.
I knew it was a big rivalry because I knew it compared to the rivalry that Falmouth and Barnesville had, so I was fairly used to that level of anticipation for the game. But I don't know, it was a very intense game last year. Nothing like that I've been a part of, so I know the rivalry is very strong.
Back here at Durfee. Now, Brian Hayden, the last one to speak there for Durfee, kind of new to the rivalry. You know, he mentioned Falmouth and Barnesville. That's because he came from Falmouth, so he played 2 seasons in Falmouth and now coming here to Durfee. And he said, you know, while that rivalry is similar, says there's nothing like this. He knew it coming in, and he says it's really like nothing he's experienced. So he's really enjoyed himself. He's a senior this year, but 2 years playing this game, and especially today being up, I know he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, a lot of years on both staffs, too, who have been around this. Wayne Hamlet, former head coach, now Mark DeBritto, obviously. But you got Harry Lowe, who's been there for years. John Cedar's been there for years. I know Taylor Brown's on the younger version of the coaching and who he has under him. But at the same time, a lot of guys who know all about what it is to play on this game. And it's fun for them as it is for us to watch this one and see how they coach them.
Joe, you both have been doing this a long time, but you're the play-by-play guy for New Bedford. You know, what is maybe your favorite memory? You've done a lot of these.
Yeah, we've done a lot of them. One of my memories, I don't know if it's my favorite memory, but Chris and I did a Thanksgiving Day game here outside It must have been 10 degrees, let's say.
Ooh.
And it was brutally cold. New Bedford pulled out the win. It was just one of those where you said, wow. And it was a rough game on Thanksgiving because of a very physical game. Wales were able to prevail, but I remember it specifically because Chris and I were on the outside, the old field. Yeah,
top
on
of the
that side.
stands, way up top,
Yeah,
and
way
that
up
wind
top,
was howling.
and the wind was blowing.
Yes.
And yeah, we've had a few like that over the years, so we're very grateful this Thanksgiving to be inside, even though the weather's so nice.
And coming to them icy games too, Evan. I remember a couple of muddy games that we had on both sides, either here or back there, and usually plays a big factor, but not today, obviously, with the conditions that we have. But those are some of the challenging ones that, not used to playing during the year. Now you get a game like that with temperatures, field conditions. It changes the complexity of how you set your offense and defense up for the game. So those are some big challenges and some of the fun things we like to watch.
Yeah, I mean, today the conditions are absolutely perfect. No wind, field, obviously turf, so you don't get, the mud that we've seen in the past and those off-field conditions. And because of it, you've been able to see Durfee at their best. Frankly, they're the faster team, Chris, for sure. We've seen that. New Bedford hasn't been able to really muck the game up. They'd like to slow it down. Long drive. That first drive was promising because that's what you wanted to see.
Yep.
Run the football, chew up the clock, keep Durfee's offense on the sideline. When it didn't result in points and then Durfee came right back and scored again, it really kind of set you up, and that's why you hear this term all the time in football, complementary football.
Right.
What does the defense do to help the offense, and the offense to help the defense? And based on the score, how do you play the game? And it's been a struggle for New Bedford here in
Too many big plays.
Yeah.
Too many big plays.
2021.
Even if it's only one play, it's still a big play, and they have to eliminate that. But as Joe said, must score if they have any chance of coming back on this first possession because they get the ball to start the second.
100%. All right, that's a good word. We're done with one half here at Durfee High School's Mac Aldridge Field. 23-0 in favor of the Hilltoppers. Marching band is on the field, so we're going to let you enjoy the show. And Joe and Chris and I will be back with the third quarter after the performance. Stay with us here live on Fred TV.
3 called. Base hit and your game winner. Shot, good. Hall with room, Hall taking it to the house.
The telescope was built in around 1897, and the mechanical parts were made by the Warner and Swasey Company in Cleveland, Ohio, and the optical parts were made by Elvin Clark and Sons, famous firm in Cambridgeport, Massachusetts. This telescope excels at showing like the rings of Saturn, the craters on the moon, Jupiter, the cloud belts on Jupiter, the moons of Jupiter. There are many things. It can detect objects really from many billions of light years away from us. The Andromeda Galaxy, which is one of the closest big galaxies like our Milky Way, you can see that looking through this telescope, even from here in Fall River, even though it takes the light from the Andromeda Galaxy about 2.4 million years to get here. The telescope actually moves to track the object as the Earth spins under us. It's like seeing sunset, you know, it's because the Earth's turning. Well, when we point the telescope at a celestial object, magnify 100 or 200 times, the object would drift out of the field of view in less than a minute. But this has a mechanical clockwork and a mechanism to track the sky no matter where you point. I hope that some students, just by looking at it, are inspired to learn more about it and about telescopes and about astronomy. I hope students see it and want dearly to look through it. I hope students passing by outside look up at the dome and wonder what's up there. And I remember being a little kid coming up to go to the dentist and driving by the old school on Rock Street. That's where the telescope was still located. But I'd look up at that dome and I knew it was an observatory dome and I was interested in science. I thought, wow, I wish I could get up there someday and use whatever's up in that dome. What's it like? I never dreamt that the day would come I'd have a chance to be involved with it like I am now. I'm very grateful for the experience. It's a wonderful symbol of Fall River's significant past as an industrial powerhouse. Telescopes like this were expensive. They were status symbols, and this still is. This, among telescope specialists, like me, this is a famous telescope. If you want to compare this to an antique car, we're talking Rolls-Royce here.
Hilltoppers have taken the field. The Whalers have just come out of the locker room as well. Evan Massoud, Chris Santos, and Joe Cabral with you for live Thanksgiving Day football. Gentlemen, we talked quite a bit once time expired in the first half about, what the two teams really need to do here. Looking at the stats, I can tell you one thing is that Lewis and Holly for the Hilltoppers have both surpassed 400 yards on the season in terms of rushing, thanks to these big one-play scoring drives that the Hilltoppers have had. But what would you say? Whalers going into the locker room. The backs are against the wall. What's the message from Coach DeBrito? How do you keep the guys focused, knowing that you're down by 3 scores?
Well, it starts with the first possession, Evan. I think you have to find a way to come out here, establish something, get some positive points, get on the board, force now your defense to say, hey, we did our part. It's your turn to do your part, and obviously eliminate one-play touchdowns and slow down Holly, because he's had 3 TDs in that first half, and he was quite explosive. So they have to find a way to score early and then obviously shut them down and try to come up with a new scheme on defense.
And I think you have to stay with the running game. I would come out as Coach DeBrito and say, we're going to run the football. When you need to change momentum, you do it on the ground. So run the football. Need points here. Let's get a touchdown. Then we're only down 2 scores. Then you rely on your defense to make a play. Get Durfee to punt the football away. If you can get another score, then it's anybody's ball game. This drive, obviously, really is key. You're only going to get so many possessions here in the second half. You're already down 3 scores.
No, absolutely. I would say this is as crucial as it gets. We've seen turnovers on both sides here. The Hilltoppers really could have, 30 points on the board if it wasn't for the fumble at the goal line late in that second quarter. So, New Bedford kind of caught a break there, but 2 picks for Dosenberg, that hasn't helped either.
No, it hasn't. And as Joe said, you establish the run to create the pass, not force passes, which he has done here this afternoon. And when he has, it's cost them a good interception. On the first one, they were double teamed. The second one was good hands by Lewis. Made that nice little snag there. And then he almost had one at the end of the half in the end zone. If it wasn't for Godine doing a little offense to knock it down, that would have been a third one. So you have to set up something first to create that pass. And it's not like they haven't run the ball, Joe. They have run the ball, and kind of successfully. And they're just not able to, once again, take advantage of good opportunities and then, shoot themselves in the foot, whether they keep turning the ball over on downs.
And the thing we can say about New Bedford, traditionally good offensive lines, good coaching around the offensive line. New Bedford has to lean on that, see what they can do here to start off the second half.
Hilltoppers kickoff, and it is taken about the 25-yard line. Brought back to almost the 40, so decent return there for the Whalers as the Hilltoppers 6th-man student cheering section rises to their feet, makes some noise for the defense here. You saw some first half highlights there while we were talking right before kickoff, and again, it was those one-play scoring drives that really, propelled the Hilltoppers to what they have now, plus the defensive. After the fumble, let's not forget the safety too. They forced the ball to go out of the end zone. So the defense has been equally as tough for Durfee. They're really playing, you mentioned, Joe, complementary football. Well, the Hilltoppers have found that recipe through 2 quarters. Handoff to Godine on the first play from scrimmage, and it's going to go for negative yardage for the Whalers. Not the start that Coach DeBrito was hoping for his squad.
No, and Devon Moole makes that tackle number 5 in a very good
If it would have been on the money, Vols did have running room.
Yeah.
He would have picked up a first down, as Chris mentioned.
Stepped up in the pocket where he was, looked like it was going to be a completion, but then kind of threw off balance, Joe. Didn't really settle in, a low throw. Couldn't able to handle it, they'll have to be forced to punt.
Another short throw, though, as we've said throughout the broadcast, right? Another pass that wouldn't get you to the line to gain. Oh, that is a bad punt. Off the side of the foot, it goes out of bounds, short of the 50. Only hang time was about 17 yards. That's a bad break for Durfee as well. Cruz did not have a good footing on it.
That's a 10-yard punt.
Yeah,
that's
the other
rough.
thing different, though, Evan, I don't mind if it's like 8 yards and you throw the ball 4 or 5. If you can catch and run at the same time and move the ball upfield. I don't like when you plant your feet, then you take that ball 5 yards, because now you got to stop building momentum, turn yourself, and get there. But if you're moving like he was, obviously that would have been okay.
So the Hilltoppers will have it from enemy territory, the 45 of the Whalers. Holly trying to cut back. He will, it appears, get back to the line of scrimmage, but I don't think there'll be not going to be any gain, if not maybe even a loss of a yard. Tough play there. Good read by the defense for the Whalers.
And a bad exchange in the backfield between the quarterback Thomas and Holly. They collided, and so because of that, the timing of the play totally thrown off, and as a result, they're fortunate that Holly was able to get it back close to the line of scrimmage, but there is a flag on the play, another holding call against Durfee.
So 10 yards from where it happened, and it happened as we saw the play developed, you know, north of the line of scrimmage. So spot foul, it was 6 yards behind the line. You're looking at first down and 26.
Well, I'll tell you right now, that's the only thing that has slowed down Durfee.
Yeah.
It's been the penalties. If they don't get penalties, they would have scored more points. But every time they've stalled, it's because they've come up with penalties. And we got a timeout, I think, New Bedford.
Wow.
Wow, on a first and 25, you burn a timeout.
Timeout, New Bedford.
Clock's still running, though. There we go. They're going to end up having to fix that.
Yeah, you really hate to do that. Burn one of your 3 timeouts on a first and 25. And you are hoping that later in the game you would be within range to use those timeouts.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, you would think so, and hope that you would save them to get something, obviously, down at the end of the game that you could use to your advantage. But unfortunately for them, they have to burn one now, and I'm sure Coach DeBrito is not too happy about that.
Yeah, New Bedford needs a stop here, obviously, on this series. With a first and 25, there's no excuse for not being able to get Durfee to punt the football away here, 3 and out. So it's all about New Bedford playing solid defense, and obviously the coaching staff felt like there was something wrong there in their alignment, so they called a timeout. Maybe not enough players out on the field, not sure. We couldn't count them before they get to the sideline.
Cheerleaders getting together, Evan, for a little pose.
Yeah.
Right there for the NBC crew at Channel 10, because I know that because that's my brother Scott Santos on the camera.
Are you serious?
And that's him right there, who's just showed up for the second half, and he's getting the cheerleaders on and getting a little fight. So nice to see him here watching this one.
Holly gets the handoff. Holly diving towards the 50. He'll be a little short of it as they eat up some of the penalty yardage.
Splits the 2 defenders, Joe. You got a chance to stuff him in the backfield, and he gets through 2 guys.
And
Come on, you got to make those tackles.
Gain of 8 as a result on the play. And Chris's mom said that Chris is the better looking of the 2. So I'm just
That's why I'm on TV and he's down on the field.
That's
Is that
why
what you're telling me?
That's
Is that
why
how
he's
behind
behind
the
the camera.
Behind the camera?
Chris
Okay.
is in front of the
There
camera.
you go.
Oh, that's funny. Second down and 17. Thomas rolls out, passing. Oh, Lewis scoops it in the arms, one-handed, juggles it and holds on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Durfee's made the plays here this afternoon when they've needed to. New Bedford now, after a first and 25, they're going to face Durfee, and hurry up offense here from Durfee, trying to catch New Bedford off guard on a 3rd and 5.
And they're going to get at least 5 yards out of it.
And New Bedford with encroachment. Neutral zone violation against the Whalers. That's going to give Durfee a first down, I believe.
It should. It was 3rd and 5, so
George the Cruz is going to get called, I believe, number 56. So what looked like real trouble for Durfee has now turned into first down, marching inside the 35-yard line of New Bedford.
And you know the no huddle does it to you because you're getting amped up now. You know you don't have time to get set. They're not in the huddle, so now you're rushing and you're anxious for the snap. They get it to Cornell, and Cornell going to get spun down for a loss of yards as he's taken down in the back.
Langley there, Jack Langley. But going back to the encroachment penalty, that was intentional. So they went to the line of scrimmage, and knowing that the defense would not be prepared, not think, they changed the cadence to draw the offside. That was the strategy behind doing that. It worked. They ended up with a first down.
Yeah, designed play right there. We see it at all levels, and the Whalers fell for it. But a loss of yardage. I thought Cornell had some forward progress, but they marked him back where he was tackled. So 5-yard loss for Durfee, more than I thought. 2nd and 15. Thomas looking to pass again, looking over the line of scrimmage. Good spiral. Holly reaches up the ladder and reels it in. Contested catch. That's twice Holly has pulled down a big one on this side of the field.
Yeah, and he grabbed it off of Goodine, and we saw Volk a couple of weeks ago on You Got Mossed. We might have one here for a little You Got Mossed because he went up and got that one.
No huddle again. Hilltoppers keeping the pressure on. There is a flag. Yeah, it looks like they gave it to Cornell, but a flag comes in.
That comes from the back judge, and that's usually holding as well, and it is holding against. When you see either the referee or the back judge throwing a flag at the line of scrimmage or toward the line of scrimmage, it's usually holding.
That's really been Durfee's only miscues today. They had the fumble, but it didn't really hurt them in any way.
Well, there are sometimes you can get open and not touched and score touchdowns, and there are times you can do that, but there's got to be a reason why you're that wide open. And so a couple of holding calls have hurt the Hilltoppers, as you said.
So that one came inside the line of scrimmage. It looks like first down and about 18. Thomas fakes the handoff, rolls around, lots of room on the far side. Thomas down inside. Is he still on his feet? He is. Should be a touchdown, and the Hilltoppers have found the end zone for the 4th time.
Over pursuit, Joe. Little bootleg out around to the outside, and he just took off to the corner. It was there easily untouched once again until he got down to maybe the 2, but everybody went for the left side if you are New Bedford, and it was easy for him to get in.
On the ground, Joe, it's Thomas's 8th touchdown of the season.
And obviously it shouldn't be that easy, Chris. So just a little bit of a play fake there, and then a quarterback sweep to the outside, and Thomas got to the perimeter. Again, too easy to get to the perimeter. You need to set the edge. They were not able to do so. It's been a struggle for New Bedford here today against the running game by Durfee.
Inacio 1 for 2 on extra points. That one off the crossbar. I think it was running into the kicker. So this time the flag comes in. Right now it's 29-0.
There is a flag on the play.
And I think it's going to be assessed on the kickoff. I don't think they're going to redo here, or they may. Yep, Durfee is. Hilltoppers going for points.
Yeah, they can accept a penalty now and go for 2. Usually when there is a penalty and a half the distance to the goal assessment on a point after, they go for 2, but Durfee's lining up. They're going to go for the point after again, it looks like.
Yeah, they're going to go for the kick. This to make it 30-0. It's blocked again. Nice job by Valls to come over and make the block. No penalty that time, a clean block. It'll stay 29-0. Another score update, I believe, from Jim Pereira. Yes, the Bengals athletic director informing us that the Bengals have scored again, but so have the Bears. So it's 35-14 in favor of New Bedford Volk over at Diamond Regional as the Bears putting a beat down on the Bengals.
And for all of our New Bedford Cable Network viewers, Chris and I will be in action this coming weekend as Volk Tech is set, Chris, to
There's your brother, Chris.
Go for the state vocational championship.
Well, speak of
there's Chris's brother.
See, he made it to TV.
Right in the family there, Scott Santos, NBC 10 with Frank Carpano. Usually that's who he works with. And nice to see him here. Covering high school football. I think he was over in Tiverton.
And it looked like he was shooting you up here, Chris, but he wasn't. Actually, he was shooting the game.
Yes.
So even though our shot of him looked like he was pointing at you to give you a moment of stardom on Channel 10, he was not.
I think 12 was here earlier, too. I saw another cameraman running up and down.
ABC 6, right? Ethan Lopez in the house.
Ethan Lopez is here.
Right in front of us as well. So shout out to those guys and happy Thanksgiving to them, too.
Well, Ethan's working with us. Ethan's working with us today.
Yep.
So a team effort between New Bedford Cable and Fred TV, as we've been doing the last few seasons.
Sun has gone down, fellas. It's gotten a little chillier.
A little chilly.
Yes.
The booth does very well when the sun is on it. The metal roof radiates heat well, but as soon as the sun goes away, it can feel like a night game here. Let me tell you, especially with the windows open. So the coat's going on.
23-yard line. First and 10.
Coatless the whole game, which is not normal. I'll tell you one thing, this booth radiates a lot more heat than the old wooden one at Paul Walsh Stadium. Remember a couple years ago when they had some of the teams were moving their games to Wednesday night because of how cold it was going to be Thursday morning? That was brutal. That was rough.
Yeah, there have been a few
moments, boy, that's for sure.
At least we're inside, Chris. So
yes.
We've done a few outside. I'll never forget, we were in Duxbury, I think, in the pouring rain in a...
Oh, how'd you guys manage that?
That was playoffs.
Our crew put a top up.
That was playoffs.
And we had to sit under that. It was tough.
Yeah, that's horrible. I'm trying to think, we did a soccer finals game. Oh, pressure coming. Dosenberg drops it off. Godin able to make the catch. And it looks like he's going to get the first down. Talk about making something out of really what was going to be a sack.
Dosenberg's pass to
nice job there. We got a Whaler down towards the tail end of that play in the middle of the field. So there is a player down. We're going to have an injury timeout.
Middle screen there, Joe, and Dosenberg just gets it off. And just let's see what happens to the guy right there. Nope, not going to see where he went down. Not sure. Didn't know if he got hit, if something happened to him, but next thing you know, he was down. It looked like one of the linemen for New Bedford as they were going downfield.
Yes.
Yeah, William Haight and Nate Walker, the trainers for New Bedford. Our training staff here at Durfee, Kelly Mahoney, and strength and conditioning coach Ed Matenis.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a shot of what had happened there, but I know, once again, DeBrittle's not happy about something, and he's talking to the officials. Obviously, Evan, we remember what happened 6 months ago and some of the altercations at the end of that game. But number 53 is in your picture. Let's see what happens to him. He's right here. He gets clipped.
Oh, yeah, blindside hit right there.
Blindside hit there from a Durfee player. So, and I think Taylor Brown's telling his team, hey guys, you know, we're up 29-0. We don't need to be doing something foolish. And as a matter of fact, there should have been a penalty on that play because of that. I don't know if they're moving it because I think they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg Camara, the head official today out on the field, he did make a motion. I didn't see the flag, but he was in the middle of the field and he pointed Durfee's way.
Yeah, when we had that other view, I saw 53 going toward, you know, that side, and then you watch that hit on the side right here. Watch him come into play.
Yeah, and he's going to cross.
So, I mean, there's no reason to hit this guy.
No,
so that's just setting up on purpose and taking him out.
You're on defense, remember. So you're on defense. You're hitting an offensive lineman away from the play. So that's just targeting someone.
Big time.
And you get an unsportsmanlike penalty.
And I don't know if that player is still in the game or not, but he shouldn't be.
No, we had the same thing last year. As you mentioned, there was a 5 to 6 minute runoff in the fourth quarter, and it was kind of ugly. And, you know, for a while, you know, I had the two athletic directors in studio last week for kind of a preview show because I hadn't talked to Brad or Tom on camera in a few years. And I said, you know, why not? We got the new space. Let's do it up in the studio. And you know, I told him, I said, I almost kind of felt like the rivalry had cooled off a little bit over the last 10 years or so because the games have been so one-sided. You really hadn't seen anything like that. So that was really contentious the way this one ended last year. Or last spring, 6 months ago. Pressure, Dosenberg hit, and it is an incomplete pass. He got hit from both sides there, kind of sandwiched between two Hilltoppers. It'll bring up third down and about 5.
Yeah, spun him around, Joe. Had no chance to really get the follow through. and got banged. It was a live ball, maybe to pick off, but it fell into an empty area, and so he's lucky that that one wasn't intercepted.
And Chris, I go back to the fact that if you stay in the shotgun all the time, the defense can figure out. They just come from the perimeter. Line play, not the same in high school football. They don't know how to get to the edge men. And you saw Dawsonburg, as you said, sandwich.
Yep.
3rd and 5, they hand it off, and that is not going far. Maybe a yard, if that. Yeah, it looks like they're going to give him 1. So 4th down and 4, and 29-0, 5.5 to play in this 3rd quarter. At what point do you just start going for it on 4th down? I have to think you're getting to that point.
This point.
Oh,
this point, right now.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah,
the word from Joe.
Absolutely.
This point. Because that's my feeling, at least. If I'm a coach right now, I'm thinking you're on the other side of the 50. You're down 29-0, and you have 20 minutes of game time, less than 20 minutes of game time left. I think you don't have a choice.
You do not have a choice. If you want to stay in the game, you only have so many possessions. New Bedford already, their 2nd possession here of the 2nd half. So maybe 2 at the most, 3 more possessions. You need points.
4th and 4, Dawsonburg drops back to pass. Down the sidelines, has his man, and they do convert on 4th down, and that is number 24 for the Whalers.
Desmond Brunskill.
Thank you, Joe, bailing me out. Not on my little spreadsheet here, but yes, on the roster, and that's a big-time catch. Good pass from Dawsonburg, one of his better today.
Yeah, his best pass of the morning. Brunskill on a little out route, Chris. And
pretty much.
He was open, but the ball had to be right on the money.
Well, it
and
did.
that time it was.
Yeah, and you had to have time, and he rolled out, and he rolled to his strong side, and, made a good, solid pass. So it's something positive from him and the team with 4:28 and counting here in the 3rd quarter, and it's been all Hilltoppers 29-0.
So it gets them down to the 32-yard line. 1st and 10, fresh set of downs for the Whalers. They hand it off. No, Dawsonburg keeping it. Lots of room on the left side as he skipped by Cornell. But look at Lewis, comes flying in, takes him out at the knees. And that is
Rosenberg with the keeper.
About a 3-yard carry.
Yeah, well, first, great read by Dawsonburg, but not the great running from Dawsonburg. North and south, Joe. That's where you got to go straight up. Take the hit if you have to take the hit, not go east to west and now lose yardage. And instead of getting maybe 6 or 7, you only get 3.
And you can't stop your feet,
yes,
Chris, when you see the defender come up. You try to run through the defender, break the tackle, or run him over. If you stop your feet, you're doing him a favor. Dawsonburg there just kind of stopped his feet, and it was an easy tackle for a much smaller man.
2nd down and 7. Shuffle. Oh, that was dangerous. That would have been a lateral, but it's going to be a 1st down and plenty more. Goodine still on his feet, taken out of bounds inside the 15. That was dangerous. You had pressure coming there from the Hilltoppers, and a lateral is a live ball. We almost saw that earlier in the game.
Yeah, and best looking play for New Bedford since this game has started.
By far.
Something looked like they were right on target the way it was run, Joe.
The timing, Chris, is what you're talking about. So you're running the option near side of the field. Dawsonburg, he's about to be hit. That's when he pitches. That's how you're supposed to execute. And then you saw Goodine, the freshman. He's been probably their best offensive player here this morning.
From about the 12-yard line, maybe the 11. 1st and 10, Whalers in the red zone. Dawsonburg keeps it and is wrapped up after a short gain. They pile on.
Able to push forward, broke a tackle that time, picked up about 4, it looks like. And that time Dawsonburg again, lowering his shoulder and north and south as opposed to trying to bounce it to the outside.
And the update out in Dartmouth, Fairhaven has scored again, 24-7. Blue Devils over the Indians, obviously with the loss of Will Kelly out as quarterback. And Dartmouth is reeling right now in the 4th quarter. Doesn't look like they're going to win this one.
Did they give you injury? What happened to Kelly?
Hyperextension going out of bounds on the knee. He's completely out of the game.
Yeah, that's a killer for the Indians.
Yeah, big time.
Spreading it out, they'll hand it off. And Goodine not going far, maybe a loss. Watching the line judge on the far side. Yeah, backing him up a yard and a half. So 3rd and 8 coming up. The Hilltoppers, red zone defense looking good, and the red zone woes continuing a bit for the Whalers.
Yeah, that is correct. We've seen that a lot this year.
You saw Dawsonburg moving pocket on their 4th down conversion, Chris. So look for him to do that again here. This time I would say to the wide side of the field where they're setting up the trips formation.
3rd down and 8. And that's a good call, Joe, as well. Again, wide side of the field, there's a lot of room there, so why not use it? We'll see what they do. Looking that way, pass across the middle, reeled in, touchdown Whalers. How about that? Quick strike, Vols hangs on to it, and New Bedford is on the board. It's 29-6.
3 guys there, Joe, 3. But the key was he put it up high enough, Evan, where he could go up and get it.
Yeah, Vols made a nice catch.
Yes, he did. But the ball was in a spot. I'm going, wow, why is he throwing it? It almost looks like triple coverage. But he found the way, and finally the Whalers score in the red zone, and now it's 29-6.
Yeah, everyone from Durfee was playing the football there thinking, wow, you're throwing right into coverage.
Right.
The pass was thrown high, and as a result, Vols comes down with it.
Cruz will attempt the point after. Kick on its way, and it looks good. It is good. 29-7. The Whalers get on the board here late in the 3rd quarter, so the shutout is gone, but still a 3-possession game. The Hilltoppers with a comfortable lead as they'll get the ball back.
I think here, Chris, if you have any thought that you can win this game, you try an onside here. Probably before Durfee is fully expecting it. You give it a shot, maybe you steal a possession, because again, 3 scores, minute 39, so you got a quarter left. You need 3 possessions. You got to try to find one somewhere, so try to steal one here maybe.
Yeah, especially the way Durfee has been able to run the ball all over New Bedford here this afternoon. So I don't think they're going to be surprised by it. I think Taylor Brown's smart enough with his team to say, hey, guys, let's watch for this right now. Let's get some of more of my hand guys out there. And I think you're going to see that, obviously, with even Thomas out there. You'll probably have Lewis out there. A lot of guys with their hands, and you can see them on the field. So I think he's kind of smart to that. But you're going to see how much they are up and only 1 guy back. So they know.
And notice here how Cruz set the football up on the wide hash here. So he's setting himself up. Usually you're in the middle of the field. I think he's going to kick to the far side here. And you can see there's 6 men for the Whalers lined up on that side of the formation.
No, they're kicking it off. I'm surprised.
Just a line drive kick.
Good kick, live ball.
Cutting back and then tackled deep down the field by number 18 going down for Durfee.
Cruz's kick is fielded by number 18.
So Durfee, Chris, was looking for the onside kick. New Bedford decided to just squib it down this near sideline. And they have pinned Durfee back at the 11-yard line. Need a quick 3 and out, however, and they've not done that here this morning, aside from drives that were stopped with penalties by the Hilltoppers.
Yes, you know, Coach Brown piled it up there because he was expecting, as we were as well, possibly that onside kick. And, you know, so you put Keith Strong back there, and he's not a regular returner. It's usually Holly, Lewis, or Thomas. So, you know, it got by him once. It was kind of a tough hop. So Durfee back deep, 1:33 to play in the 3rd. They send Holly in motion, and Holly breaks free to the outside, has a blocker in front as well, and Holly off to the races. A good 20-yard rushing play across the 30, and that digs him out of the hole.
Exactly 20 yards, Evan. They started at the 11, got it out to the 31. Just a jet sweep that time. First time we've seen that here on Thanksgiving Day.
Good chase down by Mitchell Thompson on his right end position to move all the way left to chase him down and make the tackle, but obviously it ended up getting the first down anyways.
But the number of 20-plus yard plays here, Chris, really has been the story for Durfee.
Fresh set of downs, ball spotted at the 31. 1st and 10, Durfee. Holly in motion again, crossing. They'll hand it off this time to, it's going nowhere. They got that to number 24 for Durfee.
Castro, the ball.
And that is Jeffrey Castro, a senior as well. He's gotten some snaps, particularly in the middle of the season when Holly was banged up and Lewis was seeing limited time and Cornell was banged up. You know, after the Barnstable game here, there were back-to-back shutout losses because there's so many injuries. it was a real struggle in the middle of the year.
And I bet you would have liked that whistle and forward progress stop last week, Evan, that they didn't do for Needham.
I would agree with you there because I still think that he was stopped and the whistle didn't come. Lewis, catch and run. Lewis, horse collar. That's a late flag, so that's going to be extra yards after the first down. Wrapped him up.
Yeah, that'll be a horse collar, as Evan mentioned. You can't tackle a player by his shoulder pads. It dates back to severe injuries to players like Bo Jackson. So Bo Jackson was severely injured by a horse collar tackle, ruined his NFL career, and then you saw a lot of that where you get pulled down from the back, your hip really can get thrown totally out of socket, and they started calling that a penalty, I'd say, good 15, 20 years ago.
Well, it's a dangerous play. That's the bottom line. And player safety at all levels, whether it's high school, it's, Pop Warner or American youth football, or even the pros, player safety is first and foremost. But that's a big personal foul, so you got yourself almost basically a 15-yard catch and run for Lewis, and add 15 on top of that, and the Hilltoppers are going to be starting inside the 40 in enemy territory, and that will run off the clock for the third quarter. Another 12 minutes in the books. The fourth quarter coming up, gentlemen, and the Hilltoppers offensively look to be in business once again.
They do, and you got a host, a variety of ways you can go. Jet sweeps, off tackles. Even Thomas probably could keep it. We haven't seen him run the ball as much as I thought he would today.
Yeah.
But when you're getting gaps and you're getting holes and then running backs are doing it, he doesn't even need to run the ball. But there are times that they probably could use him. So they got a lot of ways of doing it with their skill position players. And they're able to get chunks of yards every time. Doesn't matter who touches the ball.
Well, that's why, coming into it, I talked about the stats we got last or 2 nights ago from the Hilltoppers coaching staff, and you have 4 guys, all 4 of whom have run the ball, coming into today with over 300 yards. So it's not just the one guy doing it all. You've got depth at the running position, which they had last year too. But this year they're spreading it out, I feel, a little more evenly. And if you can get contributions like that up and down your lineup, that can really play into the heads of the defense. And it's like, who are we covering? Right. If you can have multiple guys that, turn the same tricks, basically.
If you have a dominant player, that's great, of course.
Yeah.
Hall last year for Durfee. But if you don't, and then you have that next tier down, a group of players who can make plays, you're in good shape.
Up the middle, the carry across the 30 for a good
Cornell,
chunk of yards.
Carrier, tackled by number 9, Kevin Ayala.
5 yards on the carry, second and 5 coming up as
Hilltopper.
the fourth quarter has begun. We've passed noontime. It's no longer morning, which means we're inching ever so closer to a Thanksgiving Day feast. And I have to tell you, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. I'm glad I can't see the scoreboard to look at the clock because I'm more focused on the game than the time. Oh,
and
man.
I'm sure it's a lot better when you're winning than when you're losing. So
Turkey
if you're
tastes
on the winning
better.
side, you're going to enjoy this bird today.
Absolutely.
Back to Cornell, and he is stuffed at the line, and the pile falls on him. About 4 or 5 Whalers. That's gonna hurt. That can't be very comfortable out there on the field.
And speaking of hurt, I think he's staying down right now.
Yeah, he really, the pile just totally collapsed on him, and we got an injury timeout. Cornell down on the field after really the whole line just collapsed.
Trainer's coming out. Cornell again on the ground.
Brown
here.
is out there as well, checking on his running back.
So his legs got wrapped up initially at the ankles, and then on top of it, then he got twisted back.
Pull back.
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, a lot of time, that's how you suffer leg injuries.
Yeah, not good. So they'll go to work on Mick down on the field, but
I know Brown was talking to Halliday and Rattray and saying, hey, fellas, just get back in the huddle. You know, it's an injury on a play of tackle. It's no, cheap shot or anything like that. And I think the kids were a little worked up about that. He's like, hey, we'll get this guy back, and we're doing fine. It's 3rd down. We got about 5 yards. He's back up. Probably the ankle, as you say, got bent back a little bit.
Yeah, and he's walking off. That's a good sign.
Yep.
You know, a lot of times, too, it's like you don't move because you don't want to do something worse. So you let the trainer and the coach come out, and there's also the shock factor of getting injured, too, right? The panic sets in, right? So it's always good to see them walk off. Mick will have to leave the field for at least a play. But, again, you know, going right back to what I said about running back depth, it's not like Durfee's hurting right now. You have Thomas who can run as the QB. And you have Holly and Lewis. You have had Castro in there for a couple snaps. So there's depth there. They'll be okay. 3rd and 5. Fake the handoff. Thomas
Open
rolling
in the
out.
flat.
They get it to Inacio, the fullback. And it's a first down for the Hilltoppers.
Complete to number 15.
Yeah, I mean, Durfee's been able to convert on 3rd down when it's been manageable, Chris. And their quarterback, Thomas, has been impressive.
Yeah, safe plays. You know, nothing dramatic, just enough to say, I can get you out of the pocket.
Right on the money there, right between the 1 and the 5, and allowing Inacio to pick up the first down.
Well, when Thomas can, you know, obviously being a righty, right, you want to be able to throw from your strong side. So when Thomas can roll out to his right, that's where he's had the most success. But when he's got to throw off, you know, the weak side and roll to his left, that's where we've seen some picks throughout his high school career. So this rollout to the right has always been, you know, where he's had most of his success as a flag comes in.
Yeah,
maybe
but if
a
you
false
remember,
start.
Evan, that play in the first half where he rolled to his left and made that throw in the corner with that nice little grab and kept the feet in, I thought that was his best pass of the game.
No,
and
absolutely.
he was doing it from the other side. But I hear what you're saying. It's got to be, obviously, your strong side when you want to make great plays. And when you don't, it's usually when you roll on the other. But once again, the Hilltoppers with a penalty. So that will back them up, and it will be first down and 15 from the 17-yard line as we're in the 4th quarter, 10:30 remaining. And this one with a single setback.
Yeah, and a 3 tight end formation.
They get it to Holly, and Holly stopped as well. So whistle sounds. They still put him down, finish the play.
Holly, the ball carrier.
Not sure he got to the line of scrimmage. I think it's going to be another loss here, maybe a yard. So 2nd down and about 16 after the false start. The penalty backing Durfee up and replaying first down.
And, Joe, that was a different formation for Durfee. Everybody up on the line, a couple of tight ends with one setback.
Yeah, you see it in the NFL quite a bit. 3 tight ends, far side of the formation. And, again, it's more of an NFL style of formation, but with a quarterback under center, you're just trying to extend that offensive line with those extra tight ends.
Looks like Coronel is in the game.
And looks like the Hilltoppers have just called timeout. They have. You're right, Cornell back in, so that's a good sign for Durfee. But the Hilltoppers burn a timeout here. 9:46 to play in the game, looking at 2nd and 16 when we come out of this timeout.
Now, Brown wasn't happy because the personnel was not in the game. And I believe he was looking for number 2, Lewis, who was not out there. So they call the timeout. 2nd and 15 coming up.
And those little mental errors obviously don't bother you so much when you're leading 29-7. It's a little different story if this is a tie game or if you're down, obviously. So it's just a stoppage of the clock, really, when it boils down to it. Holly out there, Lewis out there. They're going to spread out, Strong out there as well. So it looks like they're going 3 receivers to the left with Cornell in the backfield. So see if Thomas decides to go to the air and utilize that side, or if he'll come on the near side and roll out. But Tripp set up to the left on 2nd and 16. Looking that way, Thomas comes forward. It's a low pass. It is caught for about 5 or 6 yards. So a completion is there for Holly on the low catch. So couldn't really turn on that one. Had to wait for it and scoop it.
3rd down and 12 for the Hilltoppers.
But a completion nonetheless.
Yeah,
here's a
watch it
replay.
again. I like the way he stepped up that time, though, Evan. So
Yeah.
that's what made that play.
3rd and 11. Oh, pressure coming off the wing. Thomas escapes. More pressure coming. Escapes again, but it's closing in on him. He's still in the field of play. Tackled from behind. Strong tackle from the big number 54, Anderson Medrano, who we heard from at halftime during our feature packs. That's a big tackle right there.
That will
Brings up fourth down.
8 for the Hilltoppers.
Clock still running here, 8:55 left, and we talked about possession. So Durfee here more than happy to go for it on fourth down, and if they convert, great. If they don't, they've still gobbled a chunk of time here in this fourth quarter.
See how he used the Thanksgiving term there, Evan? Gobbled. Did you hear Joe on that one?
Sure did. Oh, absolutely. He gobbled. Yeah.
He's used to
term,
my
the gobble.
he's used to my sense of humor
You know,
a little bit more
I see where
than
he's
you
coming
are.
from. He's getting hungry.
We interviewed King Kong Bundy. Actually, well, it wasn't really King Kong Bundy, but Chris was impressed by my wrestling knowledge.
Here we go.
Going for it on fourth down. Looking left. Going to air it out. Going to Holly. End zone.
Nice pass right there.
Basket catch. Touchdown. Holly reels it in over the shoulder.
Corner route, and the ball was, Chris, absolutely on the money.
Yeah, and that's a pass because you
Oh,
drop
yeah.
straight back. Now you got to turn to the left side, open up, and put it in a spot, and he made that look easy. That was impressive.
That was impressive. 35-7 after the big touchdown pass for Isaiah Thomas.
On the passing tree, that's a 7. That's the 7 route. The corner route where you break on an angle toward the corner. It used to be called a flag if you go back, but essentially 45-degree angle after you force the defender to retreat. Extra point attempt is up and
No good, but a flag comes in late as the kicker went down again. So the Whalers not staying away from Inacio, and they get called on a penalty again. They're going to kick it again.
(35-7), and again, last time when they had a penalty, they decided to attempt the extra point a second time. Looks like that's what they'll do here again.
So the penalty pushes them forward a little bit, a couple extra yards closer. We'll see if Inacio can straighten this one out. Line drive kick is through the uprights, and it is 36-7. The Hilltoppers have added to their lead, and this one not as big of a blowout as last year, but still a runaway.
And another flag down on some unsportsmanlike conduct. And for New Bedford, they're all over number 56 right now and trying to control him and telling him to calm himself down. Unfortunately, is George the Cruz. So I'm sure the coaching staff will speak with him, that's for sure.
And this can happen, you know, when it gets to be one-sided.
Yep.
There's so much anticipation, so much adrenaline in these kinds of games that this is not uncommon. You don't like to see it, but again, we've seen it from both sides. It's not something new.
Yeah, frustration.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to the game, feeling like, okay, our season's been rough, but it's Thanksgiving. Let's go out there and win. And then when you're struggling and you're having the type of result here that you're seeing.
And they get the kick from the 45-yard line of New Bedford. So a big penalty against the Whalers.
Yeah, 15-yard personal foul.
Pretty soon we'll be on the hardwood, Evan, and getting ready for some basketball season where a lot of these guys play basketball.
That's true. You know, Lewis and Holly,
yep,
very good. I actually talked to head coach Joe DeCruz a couple weeks ago, and he says, you know, as usual, we'll be guard heavy, but he says, you know, what we lack in size is the speed factor.
Yep.
And I mean, you've seen them the last couple of years
Sure.
as well. You know, you have all this speed on the football field, and then you put that on a little basketball court. The stamina's been built up here. I mean, they can really do a lot. They're very fast. And last season is one of those that I wished, I said to coach at the end of it, it says, man, I really would have loved to see them play 20 games last year because they were really good. It was such a great bounce back season for the Hilltoppers boys basketball program. Girls basketball struggled, but they have new coaches this year. Jamison Guimond, who coached the boys, played here. Jamison is going to be the assistant varsity coach behind Jeff Caron, who's returning to Durfee, and he'll be leading the girls this year. So I know there's a lot of excitement there as well, having two former players come back and, you know, lead one of the basketball teams.
First and 10, ball at the 30 for Dawsonburg, and the Whalers down 36-7.
They hand the ball off, and stopped at the line of scrimmage
The ball carrier,
is
tackle
Cruz, who
16,
took it.
Brian Hayden.
Only the second carry of the afternoon
No
for
gain on the
Anderson
play.
Cruz,
Yep.
and
Second
they've
and 10,
not
Whalers.
generated much with that wider play. Their success on the ground has been really between the tackles.
Well, the only offense has been the Godine brothers pretty much for New Bedford. Obviously, Gerald in the back and Rainin as a wide receiver. Not much more than that, than maybe Dawsonburg running once in a while as well.
Yeah, and Vols with the touchdown catch, because he did have he had that
the one
drop
catch,
earlier,
yeah.
but the touchdown catch is a big one. It did get New Bedford at least on the board, break up the shutout. That one reeled in by number 23 for New Bedford.
Anthony Diakite.
Anthony Diakite.
Diakite, that's
Yes.
right.
Gain of 4 on the play. 3rd and 6 for the Whalers.
Third and 6.
Okay, Evan, what's your favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal? So we hear about the sides, we hear about desserts. What do you like the best?
Well, I'd have to say the sides, the stuffing, which is probably the least healthiest part of it, but that's probably what makes it so good.
Nearly an interception here on the near side of the field. Chris and I obviously
Stolzenberg's pass is
Portuguese ancestry, so the stuffing in Portuguese household is usually pretty good because they use, you know, they add meat to it or things like that. So I agree with you. Stuffing is the best.
And not only that, I'm kind of a squash and pumpkin kind of guy. So
there you go.
I always try to get in there and get that going.
No, I mean, it's so good. There's so many different facets to it, and that's what makes it fun. We always enjoy the Thanksgiving Day meal, and of course, you know, and then Christmas is a totally different animal, but
yes,
another equally as big meal, at least at our house, it always has been. Lewis,
that's a
and
free
Lewis,
ball.
that's a free ball. Lewis got
See
drilled.
if they come up with it.
They sure did.
I believe they're going to, looks like number 21 who made the hit. I think he's the one who's going to get the ball, Calvin Cruz. And
a great punt from Anderson Cruz. Really got one away there.
yes,
great punt, especially after
just
the
that
last
slight juggle. Watch it right here, fellas. Watch a slight juggle, then he gets popped right there.
Ball was
And
already
I
coming
think he
loose,
comes
however.
up with it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that punt did not tumble. It kind of was flat in the air, and you know, like in baseball, knuckleball, those things can really dance.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure that played into it a little bit. Not really windy, but it still, you know, has kind of a mind of its own. So the Whalers will take it up.
And
we'll take it back, I should say.
Remember, on a punt, when the ball is not secured, it's technically a muff. You could not advance it. If you're New Bedford, you can recover it, and that's what they did.
So the Whalers get it back on Durfee's side of the field after the fumble. Dosenberg hands it off, and a first down for Godine. Well, we talked about, you know, memories and whatnot, and my senior year was played in New Bedford, 2006 Thanksgiving, and that was a mud bowl. That was the year that this stadium was being rebuilt, and we couldn't, you know, last year not having a game on Thanksgiving Day, we looked back and we digitized a bunch of old games from the last 25 years or so. We couldn't find 06. It was on a damaged drive, and of course we didn't have tape of it at the time. Well, we found the tape with Paul Santos with the call, and it has been digitized as the late flag comes in, and that game is going to air this afternoon, a 15th anniversary of the 06 Mud Bowl in New Bedford. So my senior year, some of the guys that have been on the broadcast with me this season, Jay Springer, BJ McDonald, all played on that. Timmy Powers out on the field, one of the coaches, he played in that game. So it's a 15th anniversary look back at a big Durfee win out in the mud in New Bedford. So that's going to air this afternoon once we're off the air live, and then we'll replay this one later in the evening in case you missed any of it today, this morning.
Actually, that ball was carried by Zachary Nunes, a name we have not called this year, but he took the handoff, number 34. Plus, there was a penalty, a little unsportsmanlike, a little chippy, obviously, and it'll be first down for New Bedford. But Zachary Nunes is now in the backfield.
Yeah, Nunes, number 34.
First and goal for the Whalers.
He's only a sophomore.
Yep. Oh,
and Nunes diving forward.
So again, giving some younger players, freshmen and sophomore, probably from the junior varsity squad.
Well, you know, very small, gets through the tackles, but very good runner of running hard. So Zachary Nunes, another good running back.
Hitting the holes quickly.
Yeah, he's hitting the hole very fast there.
Last 2 carries.
Under 5 minutes to play, second and goal from about the 2-yard line. As the Whalers looking to take advantage. Dosenberg, keeper, Dosenberg into the end zone. So he's got a pass today and a rushing touchdown for the senior QB. Makes it 36-13.
So some new guys in, Joe, with Nunes running the ball, getting it down there, and then Dosenberg hangs on to it. He'll get on the board, and as Evan said, with 4:37 to go, that much of a lead of 23. You know, Durfee's just kind of, I'm sure Brown ain't happy about giving up the 7, but at the same time, you know, it takes time off the clock. He'll get the ball after the point after if Cruz can convert.
On its way, and it is good. So 36-14, the Hilltoppers lead the Whalers, but New Bedford finding the end zone for the second time in the game. Still a very, as you said, Chris, a very comfortable lead for the Hilltoppers. You know, this core group of players for Durfee going to be moving on after this school year, so this is their last, for a lot of them, their last football game, and Durfee's kind of going to go through what New Bedford went through about 2 years ago. The last time you guys were down here, and that was kind of, you know, a special group that's been playing together for years, finishing their high school careers, and so Durfee's going to look pretty different next year. You're going to have a lot of different guys patrolling, and one being that there'll be a new quarterback, because Thomas has been a 4-year starter on varsity coming over from, you know, the Fall River Falcons, and a lot of these guys, Lewis Holly, among others, that, you know, made it to Florida for, you know, championship games when they were playing youth football. So these kids have been playing together a long time, and they're going to be moving on. So Durfee's going to look very different this year, and I know, you know, this game is very important to play their senior year here and to be able to win on Thanksgiving Day in front of their home crowd.
Yeah, and you got Jack Souza, Keith Strong, and Eli Chase listed as your next quarterbacks of the future, all sophomores. So Taylor Brown will have to make a decision there unless he wants to take another position player and convert them into the quarterbacks. We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, it is senior loaded heavy. As you said, you've talked about this when we spoke before about, you know, gelling together, coming up through the minors, the peewees, the midgets and all that, and then converting over into high school. And when you have guys who know each other, hang out together, that's an elite group. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's something special.
You know, a lot of them came to, you know, the Patriots youth football camps that Coach Buffington leads with the Pats alumni, and I had a chance to talk with some of them. I was looking back at some old tapes when we were kind of re-archiving this past year and getting ready for the move from one building to the next, and I found a lot of sound with some of these guys that I kind of had forgotten that I had, and we're talking like 5th grade sound bites when they were in middle school and you know, wrapping up elementary school. So it's kind of cool to look back and see the progression, and you know, they've all stuck with it. A lot of their goals that they said they wanted to accomplish as they moved to Durfee and whatnot, they've done that. You know, the record doesn't always show it, but they have been good players for the Hilltoppers. This is a talented team. First down across midfield, across the
Hayden, the ball
45.
carrier, tackled by number 57.
Strong, hard running there from
Jose Bonilla.
the big man,
That
Ryan
run's good enough
Hayden.
for a Hilltopper first down.
Yeah, Hayden, another senior. Again, we heard from him in the packs earlier, that coming over from Falmouth. Hilltoppers coach is coming down from the roof, knowing that this one's almost over. Under 3.5.
Doing a good job of running the clock down is Thomas.
Back to Hayden.
Hayden, the ball carrier.
Well,
Hayden,
from
2 on the
08
play.
to 15, the Whalers
2nd and 8, Hilltopper.
won 8 straight Thanksgiving Day games. In
Yeah.
16,
They had a stretch there where
Yep.
they were dominant.
in 16 and 17, Durfee won 2 in a row. Then 18-19, New Bedford won 2 in a row. Durfee won the past season, which was this past spring. And now the Hilltoppers in control and ready to wrap up a victory here. So they will have taken 4 of the last 6 against New Bedford.
And Taylor Brown getting some seniors in too. Jeffrey Castro went in the game. Brandon Panero went in the game too. So getting some guys who maybe don't get as much playing time, but they are seniors.
Cornell with the first
Stay in
down.
bounds.
Cornell with some room on the sidelines. He does get taken
Cornell, the
out.
ball carrier.
Stops the clock at
Run out of bounds
2:26.
by number
But it's been a
21.
nice run, like I said, over the
Calvin
last,
Cruz, the number
8 years or so. It's really been
Anthony
split.
Diabate.
If you include today, both teams 4-4. So, and that's kind of nice. It gives the fans a chance to see some wins. And, for a while, you went through that stretch, as we said, right? Eight in a row for New Bedford. That means you had multiple 4-year players that never experienced, for Durfee side, experienced a win on Thanksgiving. In this case, both sides have had groups that have experienced that win and fans that have experienced it, which is nice. I think that's important as well. Obviously, you want to win every year, but when you look at it in that perspective, it's nice that both cities have, experienced the wins, and it hasn't been too far apart over the last 8 to 10. Cornell gets the handoff again, goes up the middle, staying in bounds, of course.
Cornell, the ball carrier. Tackled by number 87, Langley.
So Chris, for New Bedford, it'll be dragged back to the drawing board for 2022. A lot of changes will happen organically, players graduating and such, and we've seen some of the younger players who will be part of that squad. And again, need to go back to the drawing board and decide what type of team you can have in 2022.
Good handoff and a good hard run and trying to get in that end zone. It was Coronel who was hurt earlier, but he's back in there and running hard with 1:10 remaining and still trying to get it in there. But the clock now runs. Let's see what Taylor Brown does if they just get it down. Volk wins 42-21. Fairhaven over Dartmouth 24-7. And Feehan beats Stang 42-8.
So we'll have one more game, Chris. Volk Tech in action. State Vocational Tournament Championship. Yet to be determined.
Short gain there.
The exact time.
Cornell, the ball carrier.
Cornell once again as we roll up on 30 seconds. Hilltoppers closing in on win number 2 of the season, but none bigger than this one.
Well, they won in dominant fashion, Evan, really from start to finish. Big plays, first 3 scoring drives, 1-play drives, and really New Bedford had no answers defensively for Durfee's speed and running attack.
Victory formation for the Hilltoppers with 10 seconds on the clock. Thomas will snap the ball, take the knee, and the Hilltoppers victorious on Thanksgiving Day game here at Mac Aldridge Field, 36-14, a blowout over the New Bedford Whalers.
Today's final score, your Durfee Hilltoppers, 36.
Well balanced
Check it out there, obviously a little taut going on. Want to make sure everything works out okay.
The Whalers not happy how things ended in April, and I know that they wanted to come in here and embarrass Durfee, but the Hilltoppers really put it to them and played some of their best football all year today.
Yeah, but you know, when you go out there and you start dancing around and you do things, obviously you're going to upset others. And
I know.
that's what we're seeing out there.
And
so that's how it's working.
Yeah.
Both teams will head to the sidelines, and
there'll be no handshakes.
I don't believe so.
No handshakes today. I don't think, based on the way this is ending here. Coaches are smart to get their squads to their respective sidelines and get their teams out of here without any further incident.
Yeah, Brad Buston out there, the athletic director for Durfee. Tom Tarpey quickly out on the field as well. Coaches are going to go and exchange handshakes. A couple of the Durfee players still up there near the coaches shaking hands, but the teams themselves dispersing without the cordial greeting at midfield following the game. Needless to say, though, for the Durfee fans, it's 2 in a row, and they leave their home field happy. 36-14, Durfee winning. Now it looks like they will indeed line up. I'm not sure. I'd be surprised. No, I don't think so. Oh, they're going to greet their coach. That's what it is.
Yeah, it was Durfee's speed here today, Evan. The ground game, obviously, but lots of speed shown on the perimeter, whether it was Hawley, Thomas when he had his opportunities, Lewis, just a lot more speed and skill at the skilled positions here today from Durfee. And New Bedford had no answer defensively. As we mentioned, first 3 scoring drives for the Hilltoppers, 1-play drives.
Yeah.
And, you know, Chris said it. I don't think I've ever seen that. 1-play
Three
scoring
times.
drives, 3 times untouched.
No.
You're just running. It's kind of like Pop Warner, where you just run to daylight and no one's there.
Yeah, so impressive start for Taylor Brown and his team in that first half. Cruise control pretty much second half, and they ran away with this one. And so for New Bedford, it's a tough Thanksgiving day for them. For Durfee, it's you know, cheers to them, and can't wait to celebrate and eat at home with their family.
For sure.
Absolutely.
You know, as I said earlier, right, playing with a lead in a game like this really changes things. It changes your scheme. It changes how the defense plays, how aggressive you can be. And like you said, for Durfee to come out in the first 30 seconds and put 7 up on the board, I mean, that just changes things completely right then and there.
Well, it sets the tone for the game, and then that's what it did, and it was all Durfee from there.
And it raises questions right away with the defense, like, wow, well, what are we going to do here today? Again, a big kick return to start it all, and then a 1-play scoring drive, and the speed from Durfee. No answers from New Bedford's defense here today.
All right, that's going to do it from Mac Aldridge Field. We're leaving you with some great highlights. You just saw them here, but Evan Massoud, Chris Santos, Joe Cabral, tremendous crew behind the scenes getting this one on the air from both TV stations, New Bedford Cable and Fred TV. So shout out to our hardworking team behind the scenes. Thank you guys for a great broadcast.
And happy Thanksgiving to all those guys, too.
That's right.
As well as you, Evan, as well as you, Joe.
Yeah, guys, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on the air, and you guys, thank you for joining me, and hopefully we can connect for some basketball in the winter time as well. Final score one last time from Durfee High School. The Hilltoppers beat the Whalers 36-14 at Mac Aldridge Field. So long, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.